Hello, coasters. That's what I'm calling you now. To another edition of the Sonic Host Coast to Coast podcast, starring me, Malzilla, and as always with me, my good friend and the brains behind this operation, Radrey.
Stop,
I
brains. No. Yes, coasters. I like it. Let's go with it.
that's you, the people listening to us.
Yeah,
You are now coasters. Deal with it. We're
yeah.
gonna put a drink on you.
It's better than what's their face, the Paul brothers saying Logan Paulers or like or whatever the
Yeah,
hell it was. I don't know. Or Radleyers or the
ready.
Malzillers. Yeah, no.
The
Coasters.
Swifties.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Like I was a coaster back in the day. Yeah, that's good. I like it. Let's run with it. If you guys hate
Okay.
it, please sound off in the comments. Say, don't
But
call
we're
me a
still gonna call
coaster.
you it anyway.
We'll
We're
call you it
still gonna
anyway.
call you
All
it.
right. Wow. Okay. If you hate that as that moniker, ladies and germs, please let us know.
And again, as always, follow us on the X or Twitter or Tumblr and join our Discord. Come chat with us. We have all the spicy memes, the fun fan art, and all the fun debates. Now that we actually have the Sonic 3 movie trailer. Ah!
Hooray!
Hooray. But before we get that, we do have some news that we're going to kind of speed blitz through because kind of it is a little old, but you've probably seen it elsewhere. But at the
Yeah,
time of this
we
recording,
just full disclosure, we wanted to talk about it. Those who are looking at the date and time of when this uploaded, or when we last uploaded a video prior, we kind of missed out on some Sonic news, and we had some things to take care of. I went on vacation. We had an audio issue. Blah blah blah. But anyway,
life,
Malzilla, please.
life happened.
Yes, life
So
happened.
yes,
We should get a
so the big,
replacement host, like a cardboard cutout version of me, where so you can just when you have
well, eventually
time.
in about 5 years, we'll have AI versions of ourselves. We can just tell them to do the show.
Yeah, we'll just put in those prompts, and here we go. We're done.
Exactly. So, back to the news. So, video game wise, obviously, we are getting closer and closer to Sonic X Shadow Generations, and with it, since Gamescom over in Cologne, Germany, was about a week ago, Sega brought in a trailer that they didn't actually play during the opening ceremonies. They played it that morning, debuting Shadow's new Doom powers. Now, basically, what this is if you recall the trailer where he kind of sprouted out his Venom wings, that is actually one of his Doom powers, specifically his Doom wings. Now, he also has four other powers. The Doom Spear, which is just basically an upgraded Chaos Spear that kind of shoots out multiple of them, so nice little attack bonus. Likewise, he's got the Doom Launch, which is kind of a melee combo that kind of hits people up, and then you can actually direct where you punch them to, interact with the environment, which is pretty neat. Um, the two cool ones though were Doom Surf, which is kind of you summon this venom-looking manta ray that you just kind of ride around on, which is probably going to be really helpful because if you remember Kingdom Valley from Sonic 06, there was a little section of Shadows level where he had to use a little hovercraft, and obviously that's not going to be in it. So, Doom Surf, your friendly manta ray that's going to help you. It's also going to help you in a boss fight that we'll talk about in just a minute. But the most interesting Doom power that has definitely taken a certain section of the fandom by its tentacles, Willie, is
Hey,
the Doom morph, which, Shadow turns into this venomy black arm squid thing, and he kind of uses it to platform and traverse terrain. Um,
I like it. That's all I'm
in
gonna say. I really like it.
we like it. We won't go into further detail. But in the trailer itself, we saw two new levels. One I thought initially was Dusty Desert, but it's actually the sewers from those city levels in Sonic Forces. So we're gonna get a Sonic Forces level, which is kind of weird. But we're also gonna get a Chaos Island level from Frontiers, which is
Yeah.
even weirder. So we're really getting timely, wimbly, wibbly, wobbly in this game. Time Eater has thrown Shadow from the past, the present, and into the future. But we also, what was really interesting is that we got another boss reveal. Shadow will be throwing down with Metal Overlord from Sonic Heroes in a zone that looks very reminiscent to uh, the spaceport / chemical plant from Sonic Forces. So Sonic Forces getting rep, good for
Yeah, it
them.
looks cool,
Um,
man. It looks cool. I don't know
it,
about the Sonic Forces stuff, but it looks cool.
yeah, there's actually footage from the Gamescom, demos that actually shows Shadow fighting Metal Overlord, and it actually looks like a really fun boss fight. You use the Doom Surf to kind of navigate around, and you hit missiles back, and if you use Chaos Control, Metal Overlord will laugh at you saying, "Hey, guess what? I know that too," and kind of like doesn't necessarily counteract it, but kind of it's interactive. He's got some fun voice lines like, "You can't beat me, Sonic can't beat me, I'm god of all I see." And he kind of like in the Sonic Heroes fight, he'll like throw ships at you, but instead of like pulling them out of the clouds, he like dives into the water and pulls them out, and you just kind of go ham on him. It looks like a well designed boss fight. So that's another boss fight. Imagine we'll
Yeah, it looks cool, man.
probably
I
get
like it.
I like it. Imagine we'll get one more. There'll probably be one more launch trailer in October before its release. Um, that's all the video game
Oh, I
news.
wanted to just throw in
Right?
a comment there about this. I'm gonna say it looks cool, man. I mean, I was not excited for this game. I think after they revealed the squid thing, it's like, wow, they actually want to make this game interesting. I feel sorry for the people who love the Shadow the Hedgehog game. I know this is Sonic Shadow Generations, but it's like I can't tell you how badly this game burned me out. So I mean, if they can like mend all the problems with Shadow the Hedgehog into something that's playable, that's like widely playable, not just for like um the Shadow fans. You know what I mean? I think they
Oh
have
yeah.
they have a good game here. I think it looks good.
And what makes me excited is that I've heard some people call this because of the white zone where you can kind of it's like an open zone you'd see in Sonic Frontiers. That the
Yeah,
fact that they are actively continuing to develop that open zone.
I like it, man.
So in a way, instead of just like doing it and then throwing the baby out with the bathwater and trying something new and spending 3 years and giving us kind of a half-assed new thing, they're saying, okay, this was good. Let's work on it some more. So kind of a Frontiers 1.5, and hopefully by the time the next main game, it will be even better. So
Hey, man, I love my hub worlds as long as they don't look like
uh,
Frontiers.
exactly.
I wasn't a fan of the hub
um,
worlds and Frontiers, but that's besides the point.
yeah, we've talked about our issues with Frontiers, and we'll probably talk about them again. Um, Anything else on the video games you want to chime in?
No, I think we should keep moving.
Okay, we're keep moving and grooving. We've also, since the last time you've heard from us, two IDW issues have come out, 71 and 72. We're kind of hit the mid run of this Phantom Rider sweep Grand Prix arc, and it's kind of suffering from medium-itis. There's been a
Ooh.
couple of decent moments. They're not bad. They're kind of that middle when you tile like a story over 5 issues. You're kind of in, or really more like 6, 7 issues. You're kind of in the middle, and again, the pacing is not as good as it started off. It's like a marathon. You sprint to start, and then you kind of jog before you do the mad sprint at the end. We're kind of in that middle jog part. Again, some cool things happen. Night the Owl and Don the Rooster show up to help Sonic. We find out that the Clean Sweep mascots, the pun on Eggman, aka Yolkman, and his little crab meat are actually just rough and tumble in like mascot suits, and they're the ones who
Oh,
like
I didn't know that.
captured. Yeah,
Okay.
this is from the latest issue. Um, Probably the most interesting thing is what they're doing with Surge and Kit. So, for example, like in 71, they Surge kind of dukes with Sonic again, and after the little race, she's kind of taken in the hero worship where the conductor and his wife from the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. Apparently, they have a daughter who's now a Surge fangirl, and Surge just doesn't know how to process this. This is like positive affection. People like giving me good vibes. Surge is, starting to, blue ring of, blue screen of death. It's like cannot compute. But she feels like they don't deserve it. But she and Kit decide they want to be heroes. They go tell Clutch. Clutch just laughs in their face and basically says, "You do what I tell you. I made you heroes. I can turn you into monsters." And then Surge kind of has a little lightning hissy fit, saying, "You know, Starline Clutch. Everyone just wants to control them. They don't have any say," and that kind of makes her sad. And then kind of Kit is the ominous, "I have a plan." It's kind of interesting, their dynamic where, Surge she puts on a tough exterior, but she's really emotionally fragile, where, like, Kit is kind of a simp, but when she breaks down, he becomes a psychopath. Like, he becomes dark. It's kind of funny. It's a decent dynamic. That being said, let them be bad guys. We don't need more, face turns from the villains, especially since we don't really have that many female villains in the IDW gameverse as opposed to the Archie and even Fleetway.
Right. I think, well, there's a lot to unpack from that, but probably not in this episode. I'll just give you the cliff notes here. But I guess first and foremost, I would argue that that's kind of more of like an Eastern storytelling kind of thing, where like they have like, what is it, a bunch of bad guys, but then all the bad guys become good guys. Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
Dragon Ball Z and that sort of thing. I mean, I imagine
yeah.
since Ian says this is like a shonen manga now, or I don't know what he said. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Ian Flynn, but anyway, yes. You're
It's
gonna say
kind of
something?
in that vein. Yeah. I was just basically agreeing with you. Yeah, they're kind of it's in that vein. Yeah.
But no, I also do agree with you that it's good to have a rogues gallery because that way, they could play up to their part. Um, Based on what you're telling me, because I haven't read the comics, this sounds cool. It sounds great, but I guess the problem I have with it, I'm just gonna throw in my $1.25 here. But what's the phrase? Waiting for the other shoe to drop. Are you familiar with that one?
Mhm.
I
Yep.
sort of feel like with this, I mean, from the outside, from the exterior, looking at the comic from the outside, it's sort of like it didn't visually show me that the other shoe dropped. But you're definitely telling me that if you've read the comic that the shoe drops, it's just I don't think they hit the beat right. But that's a conversation for another day.
There's
Unless you want to go into it, Melzo, we can. But
I'll just add this because I know our listeners, the coasters, are waiting for us to discuss this movie trailer. But I will say this: there's 3 episodes left in this story arc.
okay.
So it's probably gonna finish up hopefully before the holidays. Because it's delayed. I mean, apparently, the 2024 annual has already been delayed a month. So, good old IDW. They only you can always count them being delayed. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this arc ends. I'm also interested to see because this arc is going to end on issue 75, so it's another anniversary issue. So, for example, for all us our old Archie fans, issue 75 was the return of Robotnik or
Yes, I was going to bring this
into
up, but yes.
Robo Robotnik into Eggman. So that was kind of every 25 issues kind of represents a change in, direction of the story. So I think we've both talked about it. This current arc is good, but the 50 to 75 arc has kind of dragged in several spaces. Hasn't hit as hard as, say, 25 to 50 or 1 to 25. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do to go from 75 to 100. Because I got to figure they have to do something big for the 100. Like something, maybe bring back some freedom fighters?
That'd be nice.
That would be awesome.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah.
I guess comparing it back to Archie again, I don't think issue 100 really did much. I mean, what was it?
I'm trying to remember.
They had
They
issue 99 with Mina Mongoose, and they had that iconic cover with Sonic showing his affection for Mina Mongoose, and then Sally getting teary eyed, which is a very expensive issue to find on eBay, by the way.
I'm trying to remember what actually
Yeah,
happened in
exactly. You
100.
don't remember, right? Because it wasn't that eventful. 50 was Endgame.
Oh,
75 was the return of Eggman.
this is
25
when
was set.
Eggman was.
Go on.
Oh, God.
No, I was
I
gonna
was
say
gonna
issue
say
25 was the introduction of Metal Sonic. But what was it? What was issue 100? Bazilla, tell us.
it's basically kind of in that where like it dealt with like let's see what's going on. Um, it looks like for the most part, they were dealing with Eggman being able to roboticize people, and then oh yeah, so he roboticized Nate Morgan. It was again, it
That's
was
it.
kind of there was some other stuff, but it was kind of in that weird section of the timeline where yeah, let's move on.
There was problems in the kitchen, I believe, right?
Yes, there
Okay.
was some.
One other thing I wanted to say about this IDW thing before we move on, while it's still fresh. Before we put it into the freezer and we reheat, in a couple days later or a couple weeks later, I guess, because the show's not or the arc's not done. But first and foremost, we should probably do a review of the arc. I should probably read it and talk about the goods and the bads. And
I will say is I think if this is going to be a really good arc if you read it in one go in a trade paperback. Just the kind of these two issues having to wait like 5-6 weeks between them has just and they haven't really jumped out at me. It's probably doing them a disservice. I mean, if you read them all together, I think it'd be much more enjoyable.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of hard this day and age to figure out which is the best way to consume content. Because I mean, you think about it, right? Like the Knuckles show came out all at once, whereas they have other like models where it's like every week and you get to explore it more. I don't know. It's really hard to say like which one's the better way to consume it. But I guess that's just art, really. Art in general, it's like sometimes it's good for the time, sometimes it's ahead of its time, sometimes it just doesn't connect with audiences. Uh,
Sometimes it's timeless.
yeah, sometimes it's timeless, right? I mean, but that's the thing is, I'm not trying to side with the devil here because yes, I'm calling IDW the devil. Sorry, guys, but
The devil.
the reason why I'm saying you're the devil is because number one, we're a bunch of fans, and number two, we don't have that kind of money. So you're the one making the decision. So I can fully say this. Second of all, before we lay this to rest, and we move on with the exciting Sonic trailer that just came out. Yeah, I mean, I will say this: it's an interesting direction, but I do feel like they kind of biffed it in a way. But we can talk about this another time.
Absolutely. Well, are you ready to talk about some Sonic Movie 3?
Hell yeah, I am. Let's do it.
Awesome. Let's do it to it.
So
So before we oh god.
you're gonna say? Oh no, you're gonna do the lead up. Yeah, do the lead up.
Yeah.
You're gonna talk
We're gonna
about
lead up.
the lead up before the actual trailer, before we get into the synopsis, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So to commemorate and savor the trailer that we have, I think we really kind of look back at how we got to where we are, or what I'm calling the journey of Sonic Movie 3.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
this
Let me chime in a little bit here and say that I think it's going to be interesting because I will say this about the trailer right away. I'm surprised by how well they pulled it off because I don't even really remember any of this. They really did a good job of misdirecting me of not remembering this entire lead up. But with that being said, Melzilla, please tell us about this lead up.
okay. So basically the story of Sonic Movie 3, and not the actual plot, but the story of the production, basically started back in 2022 in March, before the release of Sonic 2. Like a month before, Paramount said, "Hey, guess what? we're going ahead with Sonic 3, and we're going to do a Knuckles TV show. Everyone was like, oh my god, they must really believe in the movie. Again, Sonic movie 2 was pretty damn good. Um, but with it became the big speculation of what are they going to do from movie 3. Now, the two big camps were, oh, they're going to do Metal Sonic, Amy, and some a reimagination of Sonic CD. Well, everyone's like, dude, they're going to do Shadow. It's more marketable. And lo and behold, movie 2 finished, and we all saw Shadow in the post credits. Needless to say, one side was happy, the other side probably not so much, or kind of frustrated. Um, and naturally, as soon as Shadow popped up, fans became, they all started coming up with ideas of who they wanted to vote, and Keanu was pretty much the fan choice from day one. When the Batman, Robert Pattinson's movie, The Batman, came out, he became a voice a lot of fans had hoped for, especially after Robert was in The Boy and the Heron, so he had some vocal, voice work, because that's a big thing is nowadays is, getting, just because you can be a physical actor, voice acting is a different skill set.
Yeah.
And,
Mm-hmm.
We all joke that every character is now going to be voiced by Chris Pratt. To his credit, Chris Pratt does a decent job in most of his roles. It's just, there's not a whole lot of differentiation in his voice. He's good in certain roles, others, up for debate. Was also really funny is when back in early 2024, someone started a rumor on internet, which naturally people do, and this one kind of caught fire, was that Hayden Christensen was starting to be
Oh, yeah, I
pegged
remember
to
this.
be Shadow. And a lot of fans kind of jumped with it because they thought it would be kind of cool. Because, again, Revenge of the Sith came out in like 2022 or 2023. Like, again, this is all kind of in the time where Sonic Adventure 2 was kind of the big thing. So, and even, Keanu with the Matrix films, this is all kind of right in that early 2000s wheelhouse. So, it all worked out. But then it was really funny. So, as we've talked before in this podcast, CinemaCon is a trade show put on by like the National Association of Theater Owners. Uh, Basically, they put that on. People go have a good time. The movie studios come. They do presentations of all their movies that are coming out, and they brought out a sizzle reel of scenes that they had filmed, and most of the scenes that were in it were in the trailer, so we'll get to those shortly. But there was no word on the voice of Shadow until after, where John Campea, he is a movie YouTuber, pretty respectable. He's got a lot of connections in Hollywood. Basically, broke it out on his YouTube channel show, and then was verified by places like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter that at like an after party, anonymous sources that he said basically confirmed that they got Keanu. And that was kind of, everyone's like, are you serious? But again, in a world where we have Idris Elba as Knuckles, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, moving on in the story of production, flashbacking back to 2023, where we were dealing with not only the writer's strike, but the actor's strike. It makes you funny if you think about it. None of these Sonic movies have had like a normal production schedule. Because the first one, they had to redo the design. The second one, they filmed during COVID. And this one, they had to work around 2 strikes. Huh. Poor Jeff Fowler. But anywho, second unit production started in July because it was all going to just be the photography for like the 3D characters. So, and if going by the trailer, they're going to be in it a lot more than the human actors, it seems like. So, but eventually, once the strike was over, actors began filming in earnest in November 2023, and then it was wrapped at the end of March. So it had like a 5-month production schedule. That's kind of weird. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah. Going back continuing in the timeline, in
Well, let me
February.
add something into that. There's probably a reason for that because I remember like during that time, like Hollywood didn't even want to release certain movies because they're like a bunch of people would have this reaction like, "Ew, they're releasing a movie. That means they sided with the company." You know, that might have been some of the issue. I don't know.
There was there's a little bit of that. There were a lot of movies that were pushed back simply because you would need the stars to promote them,
Yes, yes.
and if they're on strike and not wanting to promote and associate it, then why release anything? But
Hmm.
they did have some stuff, and they did push some stuff back, and then some things were released, and before too long, you know agreements were made, and we move on, waiting for the next strike.
Yeah.
Um,
And I thought I was the cynical one. God damn. All right.
I can be cynical and unknown. Normally, as you all know, I'm pretty happy-go-lucky,
Yeah,
glass half
you're
full.
you're
But
usually more optimistic than I am. So, all right.
um, flash forward to February, where we got a lot of more story beats, where they announced some casting. Christina Ritter of Jessica Jones and Breaking Bad fame. Uh, she was kind of the big cast name. Everyone thought she was going to end up voicing Rouge. Turns out she's actually playing a human character called Director Rockwell, so she's working with Gunn. Uh, the next big one was Alayla Brown, who just actually had a movie come out this year. She played young Furiosa in the Furiosa prequel. And as soon as everyone saw a 12-year-old blonde girl, we all know who she was playing, and she herself, in her own Instagram, basically confirmed she's playing Maria. And she did it in the greatest way, where she was in this big black coat covering her costume, and it basically everyone's she says, "Look at me, I'm basically in a body bag." So, yeah, child murder in our Sonic the Hedgehog, more
Oh, is that
likely
what
than you
that
think.
was? Like, I was wondering, like, why is her face all covered up? That was supposed to be a body bag?
Well, that was the kind of the joke, you know.
Oh, that was
She's
a
like, "Oh,
joke.
I'm,"
Okay.
yeah, it was a joke. Yeah, it was a coat, because she was, on set, so she didn't want to show her costume. But it's kind of like she's in this big, black bag. She's like, "Oh my god, it's Maria in the body bag."
Mm-hmm.
Cynical. Um, Also, these are characters, these are actors who have been announced, but they haven't been confirmed yet. Of who they're playing. James Walt, TV actor. Sophia Pernas, TV actor.
Yeah,
Krista
James Walk
Fernandez.
of Mad Men. I liked him. He plays
Exactly.
Bob.
Yeah, he's in the show. He's
Yeah.
in the movie. Now, what his role is, my guess will be human. Um, Sophia Pernas is
Human
kind of the
number
name a
two.
lot,
Yeah.
pretty much. That's the name people are kind of circling for a certain character, but we'll get to that. And
Oh.
Yorma Takone of The Lonely Island, who directed episode 4 of The Knuckles Show, The Flames' Disaster, the episode either you that you loved or you hated.
It was alright.
He's
I
in it
didn't
too.
like it
I
and
mean,
I didn't hate it. It was alright.
okay. You're in the middle.
Mm.
You're in the middle. But yeah, so those were introduced. Also around this time, we got confirmed that uh, Johnny Goley of Crush 40 had mentioned that the rights for Live and Learn had been purchased for the film. They did a little kind of title reveal. Basically, it looks like the Sonic Adventure 2 logo with Sonic and Shadow's quill. So everyone was really excited. And then came information blackout, and as soon as we got going, the fans started to get a little bit rabid because everyone's thinking, "Oh, when are we gonna get trailer? When are we gonna get trailer?" And first people thought it was gonna be Summer Games Fest, no trailer. Which again, with the video game ones like Gamescom, these are more video game things, that what Sega would have a hand in, not so much Paramount. Now, San Diego Comic Con came around in July. I honestly thought we'd get something there. We didn't get anything. So again, they kept going, and then come Sunday, August 25th, and we'll talk about this more too, because I know you have some things you want to say about it. Uh, the media hype for the trailer on Tuesday was starting to hype with these little, projections on various cities around the world. Um, they also kind of quasi confirmed Keanu with as Shadow with a little TikTok clip of from Sonic 1 of them watching the speed,
Well,
and
that
then
was
the
from
title of
them.
the clip.
Okay, I didn't know who that was from. I didn't know that was
And then
actually
that
official.
was yeah, that was official. That was from Sonic, and they titled it for Shadow in capitals and then Ing in normal. So haha, confirming that Keanu was indeed Shadow. And then obviously on my mom's birthday, which was the 26th of August, they tweeted something big was coming on the 27th. And naturally, bright and early at 6 a.m., we got the trailer and the poster. And do you have anything you want to say about the build up till now?
Well, one thing while you were doing that, I was looking up the cast list on IMDb. You know what the funny thing is that sometimes you could probably ruin the entire movie by just looking up the cast list on IMDb. Like example,
Well,
go on.
Well, I don't want to also preface this that anyone could do IMDb. People had put that Locke was going to be in the Sonic movie for
Oh,
IMDb.
oh no no no. The example I was gonna give is like Deadpool and Wolverine, right? That movie came out. It's like
Yeah.
I had no idea that there was all those cameos in it. But like I'm sure if you just went over to IMDb and you just type it in, you're like, oh, that's who's in the movie. You know what I mean? You like ruin the entire
I mean,
movie.
you see Jennifer Garner and they're like, okay, she's playing Elektra. And then, yeah. So, yeah, I totally get you.
Yeah, that or like what is it? I haven't seen it yet. I still haven't seen Wolverine and Deadpool, but I mean the internet's let me
Good.
know all the secrets already. So thank you, internet. But um no, what was the other one? I think it was Mad Max Furiosa. I guess there's like some big character in that movie that doesn't make it into the trailer. That's you could just go on IMDb and like, oh, that's who's in the movie, right? I don't want to know who it is. I'm gonna still watch
Yeah.
that movie. But what are you gonna say?
I actually haven't seen it yet. So,
Okay, yeah, a lot of people didn't see it. I don't know. Then again, who wants to watch a prequel, right? Unless you're like a big
yeah.
fan of it, or it has some sort of important prequel that. I guess that's. I'm getting ahead of myself, or not ahead of myself. I'm digressing, but to the only sort of prequel I've ever seen where like saying, "Oh man, this is a prequel I want to watch," is like Better Call Saul because there's a prequel and a sequel. But anyway, the reason why I brought up IMDb was you mentioned James Wolk from Mad Men. I looked up on the cast listing. Now, this may be just all speculation, and this may all just be, Radley looks at a computer screen and sees things that, some guy, I don't know, in Massachusetts edited because he has an IMDb pro account. I don't know, but if I'm going to take but at face value, it looks like James Wolk is a voice on the Sonic movie. So, anyway, looking forward to that. The other thing I wanted to mention that you're talking about with the build-up with Sonic the Hedgehog 3, um, uh, there was what was really cool, which I thought, I mean, I guess this doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, it mattered at the time, but they ran an advertisement for the Sonic the Hedgehog with 3, like a little promo trailer in this area in Shinjuku, which, that I walk past all the time. And nobody saw it, but everybody seemed to claim that it was there. Particularly Fidel, who doesn't live in Japan, mind you, Games Cage Fidel. He posted it that, he had his usual big reaction that he saw this trailer in Tokyo, which I can't find any information that it existed. But suppose he was there, and yeah, and I guess Sega's running with this. And I mean, I don't really get why maybe they only did like a 3-second spot for like
I have a
once.
theory
What's your theory?
because because that was the first report of that, and then it happened. It was reporting in New York, San Francisco, Dallas. Apparently, was in Seattle too, downtown. But I don't live in downtown, so I can't confirm that either. But in their little hype video for the trailer, they showed clips from various locations, and one of them was Tokyo.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking what happened was that might have gone out earlier than expected, but then again, it's all marketing, and regardless, I mean, they're running with it, so I mean, this is clearly their marketing campaign, and they did it in enough locations that they did it in Frankfurt, Germany, and two in like Australia. So
Right. I mean, the Tokyo one was really cool. Not just because I live here, but I mean, this was so reminiscent of like the Sonic Adventure 2, or like Eggman, claims he's gonna blow up the moon, right?
oh, we were all crossing our fingers for like a little for Jim Carrey to basically pop up there and say, "I've come to make an announcement," and everyone's like, "Do
How
it, do it,
cool would
do it."
that be, man? And I feel like
Oh,
that would
I
have
would
been
have.
so cool. I don't know. They missed the opportunity. Is what I'm saying. I guess that's why I'm bummed. I
I
felt
know.
like
I'm feeling bummed too because God knows we all want to see him piss on the moon.
okay. What do you mean piss on the moon? Is that actually a thing?
Well, see, that's where the "I've come to make an announcement" joke. It was from Snapcube's dub of Sonic Adventure 2. In that thing where he comes on, he says, "I've come to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedgehog is a bitch ass motherfucker."
Oh
Yada
yeah, I
yada
know that one.
yada.
Yes.
He piss, and he's like, "So what I'm gonna do? I'm pissing on the moon," as the space colony art shoots the
Oh,
moon
that's
with
where
the
the
laser.
meme's from. Okay.
That's the
Oh,
origin of the meme.
dude, this is gonna be so weird coming like 10 years when we have to explain memes to people.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can forgive this kind of marketing snafu. I mean, it feels like a snafu, but it just seems like a missed opportunity. And I mean, in the day and age that we live in with like deep fakes and AI and everything, it's just like
Hard
I
to
would
tell what's real anymore.
yeah, it's hard to tell what's real anymore, right? Like, I don't even know if this is just, Sega HQ or Paramount, launching this sort of promotion. Like, I would love to be able to say, oh, I was there and I saw it, right? Of course, maybe it was
Oh,
only
for
like a
sure.
couple of seconds. I mean, given if this was like in 2010, I would be able to like look at it and say, "Hey, no, I would say I would see it online and I'd be like, oh wow, that means it's really there." But today, this day and age, I can't even say that anymore. But anyway, that's my those are my grievances with this campaign, but not like it matters. I mean, at this point, um, well,
It's done
uh,
and over with, really.
well, yeah. I will say this. Now that we're getting closer to talking about the actual synopsis of the trailer, I will say this about the trailer. They did a great job. They did the great Hollywood magic of making us all forget about that. All of like
Oh yeah.
they've made us like, and given, I don't know, what do you say? The climate, I guess that's the word you use. The climate of the way people are talking on Twitter and online, people relatively really loved this trailer. It didn't get any
Oh,
negativity in the slightest, I
I
think.
I watched Sam Procrastinator's reaction, and this is a guy who was one of the guys who did not like Knuckles, the Knuckles show,
Right.
and was legitimately concerned about the future of the Paramount productions. And he did a completely 180. He loved everything about this trailer. He was just so hyped. So this this is probably one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time, and we'll
Really?
get on.
Okay. Right. I'm
I
not
mean,
with you
and,
there, but okay.
well, and I'm not so much the quality or the subject matter in the trailer, but it was a well-made trailer. The visual effects for this were through the roof. Like this, because a lot of times if you see sometime trailer, sometimes the CG is not completely finished. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like this whole trailer was smooth from start to beginning. Like they looked better in this trailer than they did looked in Sonic 2. Like if
Mm-hmm.
because people have been putting up like, oh, here's how they looked in Sonic 2, here's how they look in the trailer for Sonic 3, and it's night and day. Their fur is more vibrant. They have so much more detail. Some of the close up shots on Shadow were just insane. Like they're putting some time, effort, and money into this. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's one thing that's true. I guess it didn't look like yeah, I mean, you're right. It did look professionally made. It did look like they spent a lot of money on where it needed to go. So it didn't look cheesy. So that's definitely that's definitely true. I guess, but before we get into it, the first thing I'd like to ask is, well, I guess that's your opinion. Is there anything? What are your thoughts of the trailer? Did you like it? Was there anything you hated? Was there anything that you thought could have been better? Just general thoughts. What do you think?
Again, I really enjoyed the trailer. I've probably watched it like a dozen or so times since it came out on Tuesday. There's a lot of fun little Easter eggs. There's some conspiracies around in it on things we're going to get into. Um, and for a trailer one, because like I watched Sonic Movie 2's trailers before I watched this. They did the first trailer that they did at the video game awards, where it ended on the infamous "Do I look like I need your power?" as Knuckles just pounded Sonic into the dirt. But it was also very Tails focused and kind of Robotnik focused. Whereas the trailer that they released a month prior to release, kind of in March, had a little bit more focus on like the snow cap, the snowboarding, and Knuckles. So it kind of shows that each trailer has its own theme. Like I fully was going to expect that like maybe Shadow was only going to show up at the very end of the trailer, and that we'd get the quote unquote Shadow trailer basically in November.
Oh,
But
right.
no, but this trailer from like basically the start, it's all about Shadow. He is front and center on this marketing. And it worked. It worked for me. It worked for me.
Any kind of criticism? Anything that took you out of it? Anything that you didn't like?
Um, there were a couple, he's only got 3 lines in the whole trailer,
Okay.
but the couple of the second and the third line, you know, uh, and again, it's a small sample size, and clearly, he's probably, Keanu's a professional actor. He's following the direction of the voice directors. It's literally it's lines that came straight out of John Wick. It's like, you know, what did you do? What I had to. When we're finished, there'll be nothing left. It's like, okay,
You're a
yeah, it's
colorful bunch.
I love that line.
Okay.
I love that line. I love how he just kind of like it's like again, he's been frozen for 50 years. These might have been like the first, for all intents and purposes, Mobians he's ever seen. And the way he says it's like he doesn't quite know what he's looking at, because suddenly there's a blue thing that looks like him, a red thing that wants to punch him, and a little fox with 2 tails.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
So
saw one person's criticism of that saying he just sounds like Keanu and he doesn't sound like Shadow. But I don't know. I
this is
guess.
what the fandom wanted. This
Oh
is
yeah,
what the
yeah. I
fandom
mean,
wanted.
I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like I kind of hate hearing fan opinions because then I can't unsee some things. I'm like, do I see Keanu Reeves in a voice recording booth or do I see Shadow? I mean, relatively, the more I watch it, the more I see Shadow. There are times when I look at Knuckles and I see Idris Elba in a recording booth and I don't see Knuckles, but
Yeah, I would agree
relatively,
with that.
you do agree with that. Okay.
I think
And like you seem like
Idris,
doing motion capture or something, right?
yeah,
Like some awkward like Knuckles suit. But anyway.
Idris has some good lines where I feel like this is Knuckles talking, and then there are some lines where it feels like you can just see Idris in a booth reading a line. Yeah, it was an interesting choice for voicing for Knuckles from the get go. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it's kind of had a couple
Hmm.
issues. But do we get into the trailer proper now?
Yeah, well let me state my opinion about it.
Okay.
I relatively liked it. I mean, if you saw my stream where I watched it for the first time, I mean, I wasn't underwhelmed and I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just kind of whelmed by it. I kind of felt like it was good, mind you, but the only thing that kind of took me out of it was I kind of felt like they could have ended on a higher note. Um, I mean, the reveal of showing what I think is Gerald Robotnik at the end. I mean, I
It is.
was
It is
okay.
confirmed to be Gerald.
It's confirmed to be him. Okay. So, yeah, them revealing him at the end, I mean, I don't know, maybe for Sonic fans it means something, but to me it's like I feel like they kind of should have done like maybe the Faker line or something a bit more iconic.
I wanted the Faker line. I wanted it so
Yeah,
bad.
either the Faker line or some sort of other like uh homage or something that kind of like really plays
An homage.
into yeah, or whichever pronunciation you prefer. I don't
I'm
know
with
if
you on that. I'm with you
the
on that.
pronunciation of homage, well,
No, just the
homage.
idea of the idea of ending it on a different note that would kind of be more kind of akin to the does it look like I need your power?
Yeah, which they
Um,
fucked up in the Knuckles show, but anyway, sorry.
yeah.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Um,
I,
uh,
I I agree with that, but I think I know why they did Gerald because you know I was watching a couple of movie YouTubers who aren't Sonic fans, who clearly have not been following production because they got other stuff that they're doing for their jobs. They had the guy had no idea that Marsden and Jim Carrey were back, so I think this was kind of to show that Jim Carrey's back, and not only are you getting him as one Robotnik, you're getting him as two. So yeah, also spoilers: Jim is playing Gerald Robotnik.
that's Jim Carrey? No, I mean, it's obvious. It's like a Doctor
I
Evil
mean,
sort of thing.
yeah, the funny thing is like I think most people I've talked to all thought, like who are they once we obviously saw it was going to be Shadow. It's like who are they going to cast as Gerald? And I thought to me the best idea to cast Gerald would be to have Jim do it. And I thought they'd play it a little bit more straight to kind of amp the tragedy of all, though it very well may be, once the movie comes out, I might be saying, oh, they did it. But it gives him more to do and kind of now he has to play off himself. He has to act against himself. And that's kind of interesting.
Right. I mean, I'm still warming up to these Sonic movies every now and then. I mean, I think a lot of it is sometimes it's the kind of the fault of a trailer because sometimes you have to like tell the story in a trailer, but where it works in the movie, but it doesn't really work in the trailer. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
sometimes you like some people even say like that trailers ruin movies because sometimes they have to like completely change the tone of it just to get people to, want to actually see the film, right? Like I don't know
Yeah.
if you've ever seen the Boondock Saints trailer. Have you ever seen
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Like that trailer is nothing like the movie. It's not. That's not the movie. Like, is this the same movie? I don't know if you
Well,
know what I'm talking about.
do you remember the first Suicide Squad movie? Like they had the
Ye-
one.
I know of it. I didn't see the. I didn't watch the movie though.
Okay, so the first one, which was just with Jared Leto as the Joker,
Right.
the first trailer was very much somber. It seemed like this is okay. This is a movie about villains. It had a little bit of a darker tone, and then people criticized the crap out of it. So when they did the second trailer, it was all colorful and bombastic. They had it set to Bohemian Rhapsody. It was you could tell that they were trying to change the tone. And
Right.
yeah, trailers sometimes can do that. The tone of the trailer may be very different than the tone of the actual movie.
Right. All right then. Why don't we just get into it? So let's get into the synopsis because I have
Let's
more
go whole
comments.
hog.
But yeah, let's go into the synopsis I wrote up here. So going in. Our trailer opens with a speeding Sonic running through a forest with a voice of Tom Wachowski stating, Sonic, you have finally found your family. As it cuts to footage of Knuckles looking to the right and Tails turning his head looking determined. I'm guessing here they seem to be establishing what they've already established, that, Sonic has a family set up by the second movie. Whereas, like, the first film was about him finding a family. I don't know. So what's this one about?
It's all about family, Tom.
Killing
It's
the
all about
family.
family. Well,
I don't know.
and they're gonna explain it in the trailer in like 10 seconds why they're setting this up, and But yeah, they're establishing it. Like Tom said in the second movie when he was in Hawaii, that he wanted Sonic to have friends. Yes, now Sonic wasn't living
Leave
on
me
his
alone. I'm
own.
getting married. Leave me alone, Sonic. You're bothering me.
You know, he'd been accepted into the Green Hills community. He
Yeah.
didn't have to hide, but he was also kind of alone because he's the only like talking alien Mobian talking animal. It's like he's one guy in a million of humans, and that can make you a little lonely. And Tom wished Sonic had some friends like him. He had his own squad, and when they play baseball at the end, he was so that was like, you got your squad, your team Sonic
Mm-hmm.
trademark.
Do you think they're actually going to like establish the whole Sonic Heroes thing of being Team Sonic, or they're just gonna like say Team Sonic just because it's they're just a group?
Well, the gun Commander Walters calls him Team Sonic,
Yeah,
so
they
that
do.
might
They
be a
do.
thing.
I think they just called them by default. That's my
Yeah, I
guess.
mean, probably, but I do have something interesting, so to chime in once we get to the gun parts. Uh,
Okay.
you know, keep
Uh,
going.
yeah, sure. So then we cut to Tails flying to the top of some skyscraper to what I believe is London, England,
Correct.
because we then have Knuckles launching himself off Big Ben at something.
With the
Uh,
flames of disaster.
yeah, whatever that is. I don't know. We'll talk. That's for like the Knuckles show. We have to like do a whole synopsis in that thing, but whatever. Anyway, along with Sonic speeding his way up London Bridge. Um, Now, seeing all these London shots, why are they basing the movie in England? Is it for money?
Well,
Like,
probably. Well, there's probably multiple factors.
okay,
They filmed it at Pinewood Studios, if I correct, which is like basically the big movie studio production in England. That's where they filmed all the James Bond. That's where they filmed Star Wars. It's a pretty well known, if you're into cinematography and movie making. It's a well known thing. The UK also gives a bunch of tax breaks, probably also in addition because of all the US guild strikes. They probably decided to film it over in Europe to get away with a few things. So I'm sure. And plus it's a new scenery. I mean, the first movie was basically Montana and San Francisco with a couple like global scenes,
that's true. Yes,
toward the end, and of course, the opening in Green Hill Zone in Sonic's world. Two was basically Green Hill again,
Hawaii.
a couple Hawaii that, yeah, we'll talk about when we eventually do our Sonic 2 rewind. They were in Siberia for like 5 minutes.
Oh yeah,
Most of the
forgot
time
about
they were
that.
doing
Yeah, yeah.
the Uptown Funk dance sequence, which was funny, and of course, the Ice Cap Zone homage,
Hmm.
and then they did the Labyrinth Zone homage, you know, and then back to Green Hill. So going into London, it gives them a little bit of a new environment to play off of, and again, as we're seeing, Knuckles is gliding off of Big Ben, Sonic's jamming up the London Bridge. Gives them some fun things to play around with.
Okay.
And of
It'd be
course, they
it'd be
probably get a
interesting.
tax break.
Oh yeah, tax breaks, right? It'd be interesting if like there's actually like a story reason why they're there and not just a money reason. But
Well, I think we'll talk about that more as we continue on. There's another scene I want to bring up.
oh, okay, interesting.
Okay.
Um, yeah, maybe they know they have a lot of Sonic fans in England. They need that English money. I don't
We do
know.
know a few Sonic fans in England, though.
We do. It's quite popular. There's like only specific Sonic England merch you can only get from England, which is interesting. But anyway, so yeah, going back to the trailer, Sonic says, I think on dialogue that is unconnected, probably to what Tom is saying. He says, "Try to keep up," along with Tom saying, "And I know it hasn't always been easy," in regards to that he finally has a family. Um,
Hmm.
I guess one aside here. So if Tom dies in this movie, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but like if Tom actually dies in this movie, is he going to become a Star Wars ghost mentor? Like show up periodically, like to give like little quotes, because that seems like that's all his role is now. I mean, or
Yeah, it is interesting because obviously in the first movie, it was really him and Sonic,
mm-hmm.
and as they introduced Tails and Knuckles into the second one, you know, I like Tom and Maddie as characters. I wish they would had more to do. Like again, one of my original hopes for the second one would be Tom and Maddie and Sonic going to Sonic's world in singles. Like obviously they didn't do that, but yeah, and I know a lot of people are not huge fan of the human characters, so you know, that's happy for some. But again, I like Tom and Maddie. They're they have a fun little mentor, parental relationship with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Um,
Yep.
but yeah,
So it's time to
some
leave the nest, Sonic. It's time to go. You out the door.
exactly.
You out of here.
I've seen some people theorize that Maddie is pregnant in the film,
Oh.
but I don't know. I'm not holding much stock in that. I'm not buying those stonks.
All right. So anyway, we cut to Tom removing what I think is vines to reveal some kind of mural of Sonic and Longclaw in Green Hill Zone with the loop-de-loop as Tom continues, but it didn't change who you are in here. And as we cut the footage of Tom reciting this line, he pokes Sonic in the stomach. Sonic recites, "Yeah, in my lungs." Maybe I'm overanalyzing this. I mean, only because, I'm analyzing this for the show. But, like, I'm starting to notice, like, all these, like, odd throwaway dialogue lines in these trailers. Like, I rewatched the second trailer. Like, I was saying, do I remember all these, like, these kind of these jokes in here that aren't really funny, right? I don't know.
Well,
Did you find this funny?
Well, here's the interesting thing. Where again, I watched the two from the previous one. They both of those for the Sonic 2 were a lot more quippy. This was not a very quippy trailer. Even the like they had one legitimate laugh with Knuckles, and we'll get to that in a second. But this line, it it seems like it's supposed to be a joke. It's like he's saying, "Hey, you've been through a lot, but you've never been, you haven't succumbed to loss. You're still a moral, upstanding hedgehog." And Sonic kind of quote unquote quips, because clearly Sonic knows, he hasn't changed his heart, and that's why he said lungs. But Sonic's delivery of the line kind of shows that even though he's quipping, he's not really quipping. He is kind of serious. So that was
He's
was
got the
Sonic's first
feels.
line.
Yeah.
Well, it's more like it kind of sets the tone that this is not. This is more of a serious movie, or as much as serious
Oh
as
yeah,
these movies.
yeah.
are
The
gonna
tone is
get.
definitely a lot more serious than the past two. Even though, what is it? Jim Carrey kind of breaks that tone, but
Yeah.
I'll get into that in a minute or later.
Okay. Later.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. My only thing is with some of this dialogue's a little corny, but I mean, it is what it is. I guess
Sonic.
this is. I mean, this is the thing. One thing I never noticed about. I don't know. It's really weird, like, going through and analyzing some of this media, and based upon like my impressions of it at different times, like seems to change. I'm not sure why this is, but like sometimes I think the dialogue's corny, sometimes I think it works. But in this case, I really do think this is just a problem of, well, this is kind of this fits better in the film, and it doesn't really fit very well in the trailer. It doesn't work as like a record scratch, like, well, that just happened, which I think they
Yeah.
were trying to do, but it's not a really good punchy one-liner. And maybe this is also a thing of like, I'm kind of conditioned to watch trailers to where I'm expecting this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I see it.
So I mean, maybe it's not really fair to me to be critical of like these kind of like, oh, that joke's not funny, right? Because
Well, my thing was, it's like if we want to compare it to like the movie 2 trailer. Like we're like he's in the rowboat and Tom's giving him the his variant version of you know with great power comes great responsibility. The old Uncle Ben. Your power is time. Blah blah blah. Um. Oh God, I just lost my train of thought. Damn it.
Okay, I thought I lost you on the internet there. Like,
No,
uh-oh,
no,
I
no,
lose
no,
internet
I'm like,
connection?
no. Okay. So he's giving the comic book like advice to Sonic, and Sonic
Yeah,
kind of calls him as like, "Did you come up with that, or did you steal that from Oprah?" He's playing with him. He's like, "Yeah,
right.
you're
Witty banter.
you're reading, your witty banter. You're like it's fortune, cookie shenanigans."
Right.
His presentation of his rebuttal was a lot different in this, and that it was kind of he's quipping, but you could tell that he's not fully invested in the quip. There's some weight on his shoulders. So
Okay.
I think they're
All
just
right. I'll take it.
that's just my thing is I think they're kind of show that this is gonna have a different tone than the previous ones.
Okay. All right. Works for me.
I could be
Um,
wrong. I could be wrong.
no,
I
I'd
could be
say that
talking about my
checks
ass.
out. I don't. Again, I don't really find this funny, but I guess at the same time, I feel like yes, I am conditioned to expect it to be funny, and I'm expecting it to be like a record scratch break moment. So, but I do think it also works, and I do think you are correct. So, anyway, Tom retorts, "Or your heart," instead of Sonic talking about his lungs. Um, you know, uh, I wrote a little note here that says, anyway, this piece of dialogue is probably trying to tell us that Sonic is true to himself and is not a faker. A dialogue we did not get in this trailer. Maybe we might get in the next one. Who knows?
I'm sure we'll get it in the movie.
We'll get a remix. One of those Sprite remix things. Anyway, if anybody knows, if anybody even remembers that commercial, I'm showing my age. Anyway, then we cut to more footage of Sonic running through the forest. He then launches himself in the air to do some kind of pose. I'm not sure what pose this is from.
I think it's just a generic pose, because
I
like in
swear
the
I
current
saw
games,
this one before. Anyway, maybe you're right. Maybe it's just a generic one.
he likes to pose.
Okay, well, he does some kind of a woohoo pose. And him putting, not a Mario woohoo pose, mind you. Of him putting his fist in the air and twirling it's a very Sonic pose. I'll tell you that much. I mean, like, it's hard to like talk about something visual on an audio show, but that's the best I can do. We're then hit by the logos. Pair them out with rotating Sonic rings first, then Sega : a Sega Sammy company, then original film, then cut to nighttime, Prison Island. Shadow began the story in Prison Island, yeah? It's Prison Island? I couldn't remember. Okay. I think this is Prison Island. I don't know if it's been confirmed. Has it been confirmed?
Yeah, it's basically confirmed. Yeah, there's been a couple leaks that basically confirm that yes, it is Prison Island. And maybe you can confirm this at some time at a later date.
Oh.
But apparently in the Japanese trailer, they actually have some kind of like writing on like the screen showing like saying now again I could be completely that we're someone could be completely pulling our leg with this is that it's confirming that Prison Island is off the coast of Japan or is basically off the coast of Tokyo. So
where did you learn that?
I saw it. Let me pull it up really quick.
Okay. Yeah, it was like there's something in the subtitle or something.
Yeah, let me
Okay, it's possible. I mean, I watched the American version. I didn't watch the Japanese one with subtitles. Maybe I should have for like a different perspective. I think I'll do that next time. If we analyze the next trailer, I'll watch the Japanese one, you'll watch the American one. Does that sound fair?
sounds good.
I mean, that way we have like two different perspectives. That way we're not like
I just pull it up and I don't see anything. So maybe maybe it was completely just BSing me.
I think that sounds cool. I mean, I like that idea. But okay.
Well,
Maybe it's just
we can kind of Well, not just headcanon. I mean, we'll get into the following segments, but continue on.
Yeah, so a red heartbeat monitor pulses as the camera pans down and zooms back to show us the backs of two figures, one standing and the other one sitting in a swivel chair behind a control panel that overlooks
Both gun
Shadow.
agents.
What's that?
Both of them are gun agents.
Assuming, yes.
Well, you can
Perhaps.
see the logo. Their
Oh, you can
logos
see the
on their
logo.
shirt.
Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't do the thing where like I took the footage and I brightened it up and like I put on my 500 magnifying glasses to all right enhance the footage. Excuse me. I don't need a magnifying glass. That's what you do today. Who uses a magnifying glass anymore besides killing ants? Anyway, yeah, so we were at a control panel. It overlooks Shadow floating in this very sci-fi-esque cryogenic chamber, visible in this very striking red light. He's just floating there in the center. Obviously he's on 24-hour serious surveillance.
For the last 50 years.
Yeah, I don't know how they pay those guys. They must get paid very well. Well, I'll get into it another time. I'm thinking about like, why don't we have a conversation with some of those guys where like they just talk about watching this guy float in the cryogenic chamber all the time. And it makes me sort of think of I don't know if you ever saw that part in The Mandalorian where they had like those two stormtroopers just like talking
season 1
the entire time.
I love that. That was hilarious.
Oh yeah. Like you'd think it would be like boring and not interesting at all, but that was like one of the best parts of The Mandalorian. I think like the season 1, right? Anyway,
yeah.
I'm digressing. I didn't want to talk about this, but I think I had to bring it up because I do like those scenes. We need more of those. I hope Sega, if you're listening, make more of those. Anyway, we're here. We hear the voiceover of I can't remember his name. I should look it up on IMDb.
Okay, yeah, I have it actually. Yeah, that is Commander Walters or
Commander Walters. I want to call him Olive Garden guy. It sounds better.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, he came up, he was the Joint Chief of Staff in the first one.
Yes.
And then he kind of became promoted to, Gun Commander, Commander Walters. He's kind of an homage to the Gun Commander from Shadow 05.
Abraham Tower?
Abraham Tower. Now that I believe is actually an Ian thing for Archie, so it's not official, but it's a good name for a military guy.
He's in the game. He's the guy with like
the
red
he's in the game.
He's in the blue and red eyes. Like what's that called?
He's got heterochromia. Yeah,
that's heterochromia.
I mean, he is a game. He is a game character, but they never gave him a name in the games.
Oh, okay.
Ian just gave him the name in the Archie comics, and we all know how Sega feels about pulling things from Archie comics.
They should lighten up. That's all I'm saying.
They should.
They should. Well, I don't know. That's a whole other thing.
I've been cynical twice in this review.
Yeah, well, still, I mean, I think that's a fair. That one's a fair being fair in your cynicism. Maybe the other one about the strike, I don't know, but yeah, here for hilarity and for comedy, I want to just call him Olive Garden guy because he introduced us to the Olive Garden, or he gives him a gift certificate at the end of the first Sonic film, and he's the one that gives it out.
He's all about that. He's all about those never-ending, pasta and breadsticks.
Yeah, he's our OG.
He likes the carbo. Yeah, he's our carbo load.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, he starts off by saying, in a very serious tone, mind you, there's been a high-level security breach. As the dialogue ends with him sitting in some location, what I think is the Chow Garden Cafe, as we see later in the trailer.
We'll talk about that when we get to it.
What I'm wondering, before we get into that, do you think that's a scene in Tokyo, or do you think that's in America?
I think it's in Tokyo.
Okay, all right. Well, I have more to say on that later, but then Shadow opens his eyes, he wakes up, and he punches through the glass, altering the security guards, or excuse me, I'm reading this wrong, alerting the security guards with guns. The scene cuts to guards, and with guns in the foreground, while
Guns with guns.
Guns with guns. Yeah, more guns with guns, lots of guns. Uh, oh, I get the
It's
joke.
America.
You're like, Radley, did you just hear what you just said? You said guns with guns. But no, you're right. Yeah, the group is called Gun, and they have
The
guns.
Guardian, the Guardian unit, units of nations,
Yeah, I'm explaining the
aka
joke.
GU gun.
Okay, let's move on. The scene cuts the guards with guns in the foreground with Shadow's cryogenic chamber liquid spilling all over this dimly lit red room. And then we cut to a helicopter that then flies through the moonlight, and Olive Garden guy continues, and we need Team Sonic's immediate assistance. Kind of in that tone. I'm trying to
Yeah.
imitate it, but something like that. Next, the people inside the helicopter are revealed to be Sonic and Tails, with Tails in a helicopter helmet.
That was very cute. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got
well,
the big old.
any outfit they have these characters wearing is cute, right? Because I mean,
Yeah.
how could you mess that up? You know, they'd be like, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's a toy. That's a toy going to a 5-year-old, and it's
course,
like,
of
you know what?
course. So Mr. Olive Garden guy he presses on with the dialogue. Project Shadow is far beyond anything we have encountered. He does a good job with this. He doesn't sound too cheesy like I do right now.
Again,
He makes it
the
sound serious.
narration is serious. Again, it kind of goes in the tone with the joke of, oh, you haven't changed your heart, my lungs. This is the most serious dialogue he's given in any of these movies. He
Right.
is.
And then Jim Carrey
This
breaks
is
all later. But yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um. Anyway, I'm overstepping. The voiceover continues back to what looks like Prison Island, where the guns rise. The guns from the gun rise in rapid succession as Shadow leaves his broken chamber. His eyes glow. Jump cut to Sonic with a flashlight in a dark room, looking through something. This scene doesn't have much detail, or doesn't really tell us much, other than he's looking for something. Fits really into the tone of the trailer.
I think it's good. I think that scene is going to be in like the middle of the movie.
Probably. Maybe he goes to Prison Island, discovers where Shadow's
Nah,
from. You don't think so?
I have some theories. I'll talk after we go over it.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Then to Shadow, we go back to Shadow's hand on a glass pane and a green light. The scene shows us both Shadow's hand and a human character, most likely Maria, but it's confirmed to be Maria, as you said prior, touching his hand from the other end of this glass pane. The characters seem to be in a room with a bunch of glowing buttons, as Mr. OG, or Olive Garden, resumes. Shadow's story began a lot like yours, Sonic. You know what? I'm excited. We're getting more Sonic and Shadow lore. We're getting movie lore. Or at least we hope we are. I hope we are. I hope we're like... Yeah. I guess I could say it here. I'm hoping that what this trailer is trying to do is it's leading us in this direction of getting us back to fucking Green Hill, finally. And yes, I have to say the F word. It's rated R, kids. Sorry. You know, because I don't know if you've watched... I don't know, man. I will tell you one thing. Every single review I've heard of the Sonic, movie is everyone was saying, when are we going back to Green Hill? I want to see more of Green Hill. I don't want to see Earth. Tell me that there's anybody who said... I mean, like, okay. I'm interrupting myself here. But there was the people who said... Oh, the critics of the second Sonic movie said, oh, we didn't get enough time with the human characters. I mean, thus was one reason why I think we got the Knuckles show, with why it focused more on the human characters. But... I do feel like what they're doing here is they're trying to get us back to Green Hill. It's because they're trying to listen to,
I have a different thought.
Oh, do you?
About that.
Okay.
Yeah. Ultimately, where this movie will end up, we don't know, and I think a lot of fans are hoping. It kind of seems that they'll, leave the nest or leave the Green Hills, Montana, back to Sonic's world. But kind of really, if you go by and what, Commander Walters, General OG Gun, whatever you want to call him, he's about to say, they're setting up the parallel that Shadow is the broken reflection the Terios, if you will. I'm funny. To Sonic. That
Thumbs up for
you know,
funny.
yeah, thumbs up for funny. Um, it's basically showing that you know he is the inverse to Sonic. Not like, Scourge, who was just evil Sonic, is that, you have these two hedgehogs who have reasons that we don't know yet, have very similar power sets, but where one took a left turn, the other took a right, and where Sonic was able to, build a found family with the Wachowskis and, Tails and Knuckles. Shadow had the family that on wherever he was created with Professor Gerald, and then as we see in about 3 seconds, as about to say, we see him and Gerald in a fiery wreckage, kneeling very mournfully over what is probably a dead Maria.
Oh, okay. That's what you think that is? I was going to talk about
Yeah,
that in a minute.
basically, as he says, but where you found family and friends, Shadow found only pain and loss.
Okay.
So
Well, why don't we get to there? When do we
okay,
get to that point so I can talk about it?
okay.
So then after the scene with the what is it? The glowing buttons and Shadow
Mm-hmm.
and Maria in the room when Maria's alive,
Mm-hmm.
I guess. I don't know. I don't
Mm-hmm.
not I guess she is alive. Um we cut back to like I think an earlier scene where we see tails flutter or like fluff. Um in the next shot, accompanied by like extreme close up of Tails' eyes. I think they're about getting ready to do a race off of some kind. I mean, there's also followed by Knuckles pounding his fists into the ground and then looking up. But meanwhile, Olive Garden guy says, and with this footage, it says, "But where you found family and friends, Shadow found only pain and loss." Again, he delivers it a lot better than I do. uh, Team Sonic and the Forest race against each other with Tom and Maddie waving a green racing flag. I'm guessing they're doing some sort of race. I imagine this is going to be like one of the first scenes to set up the characters
Yeah,
to
this
show
is
that.
probably this is like probably within the first 5-10 minutes of the film.
Oh yeah, probably just to tell us like what kind of character moments to expect. Like how they win the race, right? Like Tails has a problem with this, Sonic has a problem with this, Knuckles has a problem with this, like that sort of thing. And then that's kind of like they state like the need, that they have, and then
No,
how they eventually they overcome it by the end of it. Or at least that's how these movies are made, or they should be made. Uh, let's see. Then we go to more footage of Shadow looking at a shattered mirror of himself, to a wide shot of here we are. Then to a wide shot of Shadow and a shadowy figure looking despondent in a fiery wrecked building. So you think that shadowy figure is Maria? It looks like they're just hunched over. I mean, it looks like a person holding something. Do you think that's like Gerald Robotnik or something?
I do believe that is Maria. Obviously we're Sonic fans. We know Shadow's history. We know how close he is with Maria, and you have this destroyed area, and he's looking very somber and sad. And it's 1 and 1 equals dead 12-year-old girl, maybe. So yeah, that's what I believe.
No, I mean it's a good scene. I mean it shows us what kind of emotion they're going for and like where the story is going. So I mean it's pretty well done. Uh, then we cut back to Sonic in a helicopter saying, "All right, we got a rogue alien on the loose. How do we find it?" And that's my best Ryan Drummond impression, because obviously he was in Sonic Adventure 2. Then Tails says, "Start with the giant fireball," with footage of what I believe is Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo. Sonic replies,
Looks like it.
"Yeah." Sonic replies, "I love it. Let's start with the giant fireball." He probably doesn't say it that way. More Ben Schwartz has a more of a cool version to his voice that I can't really imitate, or I could probably try to imitate, but anyway. Team Sonic jumps backwards out of the helicopter, with Sonic iconically falling face first into Shibuya Crossing.
I want to
Making
say something really interesting.
Okay.
Can I? Yeah. One of the things people have kind of noticed that, and it's really an interesting juxtaposition of Sonic Adventure 2 to what we've seen from Sonic Movie 3 at this point, is that we all know how Sonic Adventure 2 started out. Sonic jumping out of a plane to escape the military. You know, the no popcorn, no peanuts, and no in-flight movie.
Right.
I'm out of here, and
Yeah.
then
Then
escaping from said city.
he goes, yeah, down San
This
Francisco.
exactly. In this, he's helping the military, and he's jumping out of the plane just not to,
It's another
snowboard through.
remix.
Yeah, I would even say it's almost the inverse because,
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
definitely.
where because again, the government knows who Sonic is. Because this is all new. They've interacted with them. They know Sonic wouldn't do stuff. So it's kind of a fun juxtaposition inverse of what we know from the games. So just a little interesting comment that I saw.
Oh yeah, no, the definitely organically this makes a lot more sense. I mean, they would
Yeah.
definitely have to. I guess if they wanted to go for the more Sonic Adventure 2 plot, with the mistaken identity, they would definitely have to set some sort of thing up to say why he was falling out of a helicopter in the same way that he does in Sonic Adventure 2, if they did that for the movie. But
Exactly.
obviously, maybe they went through a lot of drafts and a lot of scripts, and they figured out probably what worked best. I mean, I have faith in these screenwriters. I mean, so far with Sonic 2, it was relatively fun. I didn't hate it. I mean, there were parts of Sonic 1 that I kind of thought they were kind of whatever. But I mean, I could get into that another time. But
I would say this: the writers, Pat Casey and the crew, they know they enjoy the material that they're writing.
yeah, they know who they're writing
It's
for
just
too. Yeah.
they know who they're writing for. They know, you know, they know who they're writing for, and they know how to work around corporate shenanigans of both Sega and Paramount.
Yeah, more power to them. Based upon what I hear from the Bumblecast, it doesn't sound fun, but whatever.
Yeah. And
Like
then
I
of
guess
course,
that's any company really.
yeah.
But yeah, it is nice to have somebody who actually does, consider this not just a kids movie. Because I remember listening to a podcast with Pat Casey in it, and he was saying something like, telling one of the producers, saying, "No, there's a lot of adults who watch this movie. It's not just children." Whereas like the producers of it were like, it's another kids thing. Put more color in it and like more cute stuff and fart jokes and stuff that the kids like, right? I don't know why I always think all movie producers sound like carnies, but apparently they do. Or at least in my head they do. I digress. As always, so Team Sonic jumps backwards out of as I said, they jump. They jump out of the helicopter. Is this like another iconic Sonic pose? I feel like it is. Like he does all these poses. I'm like, is this a movie thing, or is this?
I think
like
again, it's just. I think it's just them doing the kind of the jumping out of the helicopter, a la City Escape.
Oh right.
Of
Well, I'm
course,
talking about this pose where like Sonic goes face first.
I mean, maybe I think that's a little over analyzing it, but maybe.
Oh yeah, well I mean, I've seen some people on Twitter like find some of the homages that like they did from games and stuff, but I haven't seen ones for this. I don't know. It's
I
because
think
you think I'm overanalyzing. It's possible.
I think this one. All I've seen from this are the various Fortnite jokes of where we dropping, boys.
Oh yeah, it does look very Fortnite, doesn't it? Huh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we cut to then we see Shadow's feet crawling up some fiery wreckage in Shibuya Crossing.
He's walking up he's standing. He's walking up the destroyed car.
Is it a
Like a
car?
badass. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously people have stopped walking here. They've gotten scared or something. Very iconic scene to shoot
Yeah.
this fight, which is all ruined in a few minutes. Which I'll not a few seconds. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a trailer. And I'll get too wide a second. The Knuckles saying, "He is more impressive than the Hedgehog I fought previously." Annoyed, Sonic says, "Dude, I'm standing right here." And then
I love this exchange. I
you
love
do
everything
okay.
about this. I do this because that's very much a Knuckles comment
It
from
is. It
the
is.
Knuckles that we
Yeah.
have. Like, oh, he is the warrior. It's like this guy, looks a lot more. Because again, his whole thing with Sonic is you're untrained, undisciplined, unworthy. He's just taking shots at Sonic all day, left and right. And then he automatically just sees that Shadow's different. He's got a different vibe to him. And with Ben Schwartz's Sonic, him saying, "Dude, I'm right here. You don't have to just like roast me like that."
Oh
It
yeah.
feels like something he'd say, and it's like, yeah, you just got totally burned by Knuckles, and it's not even. You're gonna need a lot of aloe vera for that burn.
Yeah. So it seems, as much as I hate this argument, it seems in character.
Yeah.
Continuing, Shadow stands stoic, saying, "You're a colorful bunch." A line that you said
Okay,
you
I
like.
mentioned this earlier.
Yes.
I love the delivery. If you analyze it, this is me overanalyzing.
Okay.
I'm stealing Radrey's
This
gimmick.
is why we're here.
This is why we're here. When he speaks, as he says, well, he kind of almost pauses, like he doesn't know what he's looking at, and he's kind of just being like, well, you're a colorful bunch," and it's like, what is he saying? What is he? It's just he is he's being Shadow, but you can also kind of confuse. Like, you see a little character to him. Like if you looked at Game Shadow, I don't think he'd call anyone a colorful bunch. He just
Hmm.
get out of my way, losers. Or like, you know, some stuff like that. This is kind of like, again, it adds a little character to him.
Oh, so
It's kind of
this is Keanu movie Shadow.
yeah,
God.
yeah. It kind of
It's a good thing. I'm not getting angry at you. I'm not
yeah.
groaning at you. I'm just groaning at like the tons of fans that are like, this is movie Shadow. It's the three different ones. They're like they're in their sections. They shouldn't touch. They shouldn't touch. I
Yeah.
don't know why they're Donald Trump now, but they're Donald Trump.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I feel like we get a little character from Shadow, and again, I enjoyed the line. It spoke to me.
All right. Yeah, I like it too. I mean, again, I guess the criticism I said earlier, some people said that it just sounds like Keanu in a recording booth, but I don't know. I'll wait till the movie's out before I have a real opinion on this. So, I mean, I enjoyed it. It didn't take me out of it. Uh, but I am. It's one of those things I can't unhear or unsee or unthink about. Uh, Moving on. Sonic states, "We don't want to fight you." That sounds more like Ben Schwartz. To give Knuckles, then Knuckles giving to Sonic an aside, saying, "Actually, Knuckles, I would like to fight." Sonic says,
Actually,
"No."
Sonic, I would like to fight.
Yeah,
Again, it fits Idris's Knuckles of him's like, I want to fight him. And it feels like Idris's Knuckles, but it also feels like Knuckles. It was a good line and a good delivery, in my opinion.
yeah, no, it's good. I mean, good writing here, top notch. So Sonic says, "Knuckles, no!" as he jumps in Shadow's direction to a Shadow who Chaos controls his way in to twist Knuckles' arm. Knuckles screams. There's been some
Knuckles
great
gets
memes.
his
There's
ass
been some
kicked.
great memes of this. So if you haven't
Yeah, this
seen
is one
them,
of those things. Oh yeah, this is one of those things where it's like they set up the fans to have some fun, and yeah, Knuckles well, they all get jobbed.
there's been some good memes. Hashtag shame, not shameless. Tasteful plug. Check out our Discord for some of these great memes. We put them all there. if you don't have time to check Twitter X, you can always find them there. So Sonic says, "My turn," as Sonic and Tails fight in front of Shibuya Starbucks. I mean, dude, I don't know if they needed the Starbucks money or just because it's iconic. I'm guessing I'm leaning because it's iconic, but I did not. I don't like seeing Starbucks in bright letters. And not only that, a bunch of people like taking pictures the way Shadow fights, and like all I'm seeing is Starbucks in the background. I don't know. Focus on the. I mean, I guess you could always pan the camera to the other side, where you have the station, and you can see that where you don't look at the Starbucks. Or I don't know. I just don't like seeing this. That's all I'm saying. Because it just makes me think of. Oh, I see who sponsored this part of the movie, or I see what advertisement's being sold here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you on the same page as me with this? Are you?
I see. You know, I say this as someone who lives in the land of Starbucks. Um, they are everywhere. It is a pandemic, but to me, I will honestly say, maybe since I'm so used to seeing them around, I kind of just tune them out. I was
That's
more
exactly what they
focused
want you to
on
do,
exactly.
Malzilla. That's what they want.
I'm a sheep. What can I say?
Okay.
Um, I
Did you
was
know they
watching
have
Shadow.
Starbucks in Japan, Malzilla?
I do. I did. I got a
Anyways,
latte there.
sorry.
Um,
I had to be
I was
provocative.
watching. I know. I, I was watching Shadow just kick the crap out of Tails, which again, fans being the meme lords that we are, would started doing little compositions of Tails of Shadow beating up Tails in the various continuities from Sonic X, Sonic Boom,
Oh yeah, there's a lot of memes of
the
this.
Sonic Booms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like Shadow continues the tradition of just like laying Tails out, or as Kirk Thornton said in Boom, fox hunting.
Huh. Yeah. I want to be more of a fan of this moment, but the Starbucks ruins it. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Anyway, the
But at the
dramatic
same time,
what?
well, I was gonna say the funny thing is like while this is going on, Sonic's trying to like charge up to go like super, and he's just watching, going like, "What the hell?" And then continue on. I'll wait
Well,
till
yeah, I
the
mean, if
scene
you saw
goes.
some do chaos control to kick your ass, that would shock the shit out of me too. So, I mean, like, how do I do that?
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
and he just
Anyway,
choke slams.
the dramatic music reaches a high note as the title Paramount Pictures presents to a glimpse of then some egg machine coming out of the water, possibly the space colony arc, the from
Wait a minute,
Sonic
hold
Adventure
on.
2. What's up?
We really didn't talk about Shadow like choke slang, like kicking him up in the air and then just
Oh yeah,
choke
I didn't write
slamming.
note for that. I just wrote they fight pretty much. I mean,
Oh, it was just he literally just kicked Sonic, like threw him up in the air, followed him up, chaos controlled, grabbed his throat, and just slammed him like 100 feet into the ground. It was KO. It was great.
yeah, no, they're good fight scenes. I didn't. I mean, it's more fun to watch a fight scene than actually talk about it. So that's why I didn't write in the notes. So, um, but yeah, but I'm guessing this and the next scene, moving on, is this egg machine coming out of the water is probably Space Colony arc, or maybe it's just Eggman's house that he's
Well,
hiding out
it,
in
it's
London for some
you
odd
know
reason.
it's basically the movie version of what will be. It's probably kind of a Death Egg arc. Oh, kind of amalgamation.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's obviously it will go up to space, and I think that's where they'll have the final act.
Okay. I mean, a la la, what is it? Sonic Adventure, or not Sonic Adventure, Sonic
Yeah.
2, the video game, not the movie.
Sonic 2, Sonic Adventure 2, they were all last act was in space.
Where was the last act in Sonic Adventure? I don't
Sonic Adventure
remember.
2 on the arc.
Oh no, I'm talking about the first Sonic Adventure game. That was
Um, I was talking about Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure was all, Station Square, Mystic Ruins, Egg Carrier.
it's the Egg Viper. I don't even remember now. Oh, that's right. It's the Station Square, and it's all ravaged, and then
Yeah, Perfect Chaos.
perfect chaos, terrorized the city. Good ending, but yeah, doesn't end in space. Now I'm thinking, which Sonic games end up in space? Sonic 2, Adventure 2. I haven't played
I think
those. It's
one of the Rush games, something with Blaze, does this too.
okay. It's kind of a motif, that's important to Sonic. End up in
It's a
space.
trope.
Yeah, or trope, whatever you want to call it. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, more shadow footage is shown of him running to the screen, and
Oh,
then
that him running over the water, doing his little skate. It looked great. I can't stress how good this trailer looks visually. It's great.
right. Yeah, no, it does look good. I mean, it looks professional. I mean, as you'd hope they'd do, because they had the money. They better get the good people. Uh, and obviously they do. I mean, it's probably Tyson Hess. I mean, he's great. Guy's a beast. But yeah. Then we get Shadow kicking some gun extra. I think, like kind of similar to the way
Doing
he kicks. I mean, like obviously they took a lot of notes from the games, and the way he kicks some of these villain or these extras, these gun extras, it's very reminiscent of the way it looks in the games. Was there something you had to say about this?
I was gonna say, it's Shadow's little signature move, his roundhouse kick. He
Yeah,
did it
it's a good
in
one.
Shadow '05. He kicked Silver. He used it to, boot Silver in the head in '06. He's done it a bunch of comics. It's kind of his little move.
For sure. Sonic then says he's too powerful as the dramatic version of Green Hill Zone blasts its symphonic violins in the
It's
background.
good. I like this cover. I posted it. The artist, let me see if I can find him. He actually posted it on YouTube. So the song
Mm.
is up on YouTube. Um, Totem is the band,
Mm.
and yeah, it's one of the best covers I've heard of Green Hill Zone. I
Wow.
actually, when I first heard it, I thought it almost sounded like what was it? Dreams of an Absolution Silver song from '06, but then I realized, oh well, they probably just pulled some Green Hill notes for that song.
Right, right. Uh, yeah. Um, yeah. So continuing on, uh, actually, while you were talking on about that, I happened to click on the IMDb link again, and I'm looking at the all the human characters that are in this, and my eye went straight to Wade Wimple, and I'm starting to hear thinking, before we move on to the next thing, I'm sitting here thinking, they're probably not going to go to Sonic's world. They have too many human characters. They want to keep talking about these human characters, and
I mean,
I imagine they're cheaper
basically,
too.
yeah.
They don't have to
Uh,
pay VXX and VFX artists. They don't have to, um, they can keep it grounded. They can keep the normie Sonic fans interested, or the people who are like, "What's a Sonic?" Right? And they're like, "Oh, I like these human characters." Yeah, I don't think they're going. The more I look at this pedigree of people on here. Anyway, I digress. As always. Yeah. So the next big thing that's revealed is we see Tom Wachowski, and I think is a gun uniform, laying on the ground, hurt, and screams Sonic's name, Sonic, like that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. So Tom's in a gun outfit, which is
Is that
really
a gun
interesting.
outfit?
That is a gun outfit,
Has it been
which is
confirmed?
kind of, I mean, if you compare it to what everyone else is wearing,
Oh, okay, so all the other gun outfits are wearing something similar to this one.
yeah, which is
Okay.
kind of, it makes sense to me because, you know, like, quite frankly, the fact that they didn't try to recruit Tom to gun, like, at the end of S movie 2, just basically have his mission just to kind of keep his eye on Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of, it, it kind of, he's basically, your job is to do what you're doing normally. Again, for Tom, who his whole story back in movie 1 was that he wanted to be, do something important. He wanted to be more than just a sheriff of a little mountain town in Montana.
Mm-hmm.
Even though at the end of that one, he kind of realized that was his home, and he had found the important thing in helping Sonic. But at the same time, it's like, now here we are 3 movies in. We have Gunn. Gunn is obviously monitoring Sonic and Company. It would be easier for them, and clearly the fact that they reach out to Sonic regarding Shadow. You know, it'd be easier to say, "Oh yeah, let's just call Tom and have him bring in the boys and we'll talk to him." It seems like, you know. Besides, Tom can make some money off Uncle Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe Tom might actually have like this moment of like, well, I need to stop this shadow guy, so maybe I should join Gunn. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. See what happens. Uh, then we cut to a shadow punching the screen as a POV, to then Sonic saying, "I can't believe I'm saying this, but we need you know who." And then we go to a nighttime shot of a vortex with the electric lightning sucking the world in around the backs of like Team Sonic. This is the best way I can explain this. And then to a daytime shot of Team Sonic near UK police cars. I'm pretty sure those are UK police cars.
Yep.
Looking distraught. Team Sonic, that is. That's distraught. There's no humans in the shot. Next is a nighttime shot of a mecha at night rising from the ocean with Agent Stone standing in front of our heroes, which I think is the same location of the electric red vortex shot previous I just mentioned.
Okay, so here's the interesting thing, and we're going to talk about this shot more in detail later.
Okay.
But one thing I noticed, obviously, that's a giant crab meat. So again, we're pulling more of.
I didn't even notice. I didn't even put those two together. I didn't know that. Okay.
And you call yourself a Sonic fan?
Yeah, I know.
But again, it's fun. We had the Buzz Bomber variants in the second one. Now we have crab meat, so we're kind of getting some of those classic badniks. But take a look at the motorcycle next to Agent Stone. It looks like the same one that Shadow uses later on. So I'm kind of wondering, like, because I originally thought this scene was supposed to be in London. It may be in Tokyo. I don't know.
Or maybe it's a Rouge cameo and she's been edited out. I don't know.
We'll talk about that in about 10 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. You have something to say about that. Okay. I was going to totally skip that part because we're going a little long here. All right. So Tails then says, "This is a bad idea." And Sonic responds, "When has that ever stopped me?" A very Sonic line. A very Sonic response. Then we go to a maniacal Robotnik laughing as we see the back of the chair in a glowing screen. The chair turns, and Robotnik with a huge pot belly exposed, long beard and hair, looking very pathetic, is pounding his belly with his fists. Or not fists. He's slapping his belly, I should say.
Exactly.
Agent Stone professionally addresses him and says, "Doctor, we have visitors." Robotnik wails in misery. Knuckles says, "This is sad, Robotnik, even for you." Sonic says, "We need your help." Was that Tails? I can't remember. No, it was Sonic. Robotnik, standing in a clearly different scene, says, "On one condition." I mean, obviously, this is trailer stuff,
Yeah.
This
I would not be surprised if some of these scenes were like different scenes just cut together for the trailer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just to tell a story really quickly.
Yeah.
So Sonic hands him one of his blue electric quills, and Robotnik tries to taste it again, and getting the same head
He's
whiplash. Like,
addicted.
what?
He's addicted to those quills. He's licking them any chance he gets.
Yeah, similar to the that what is it? The Game of Thrones bad guy in the Knuckles show. I really wish we got more in that guy. I wanted more Knuckles lore, not Wade Watts lore, or not Wade Watts. What's his name? Wimple.
Wait, Whipple.
I
Wade
didn't
Whipple.
need this. All right, I guess apparently Paramount says we do because it was a success. So what do I know? What I do know is, yeah, it gives him the head whiplash like in the first movie, and yeah, he's an addict because that
He's
prompts.
on. He's addicted to Quill Cane.
I guess so, because this prompts the line, "Let's do this," and he says it in that tone, but not. I make it sound. Well, no, I think that's kind of how he says it.
It was close. It was. It was in the same wavelength.
Kind of like Jim, what is it? Jim Carrey circa the '90s of like circa,
Yeah.
excuse me, Jim Carrey from the '90s, when he said, when he was the mask and like saying, "Let's rock this joint," right? That sort of thing. But anyway, yeah, he says, "Let's do this" by Robotnik as Agent Stone gives Robotnik a very intimate haircut. Emphasis on very. I mean, this is like the most intimate haircut I think I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen this one.
He's kind of had him in a chokehold there for a bit.
Yeah,
Kinda,
yeah. Who gives a haircut like that? I mean, I go to several hairdressers, every year. I have never had anybody touch me that way. I mean, like even like somebody who's close to me, has never touched me that way. So as Stone shaves Robotnik, he says, Robotnik says, "If I can't rule the world, I might as well save it." And
I think that line is from later in the movie.
you think so?
I'm gonna put that in the. I think that's an Act 3 finale line.
Well, mind you, I'm gonna say also this is a very Sonic game plot line. The Sonic games are always like this. It's always like Sonic represents freedom, Eggman represents control, and then there's some sort of chaotic thing going on in the world, and the only way they can stop it is if Sonic, if freedom and control work together to stop the chaos that prevails. So
Exactly.
Anyway, so we get the same looking Robotnik back from in form from Sonic 2 as Eggman gets his haircut very quickly thanks to the miracle of editing. Robotnik then enters his own washroom, closing the door with the words "occupied" and the Eggman logo
That was
above.
cute.
Yeah, as he latches the door shut, we get to see the vacant switch to the Eggman logo of occupied. Robotnik says, "I need room," while handing Agent Stone his outfit, saying, "Sir, I don't think we have the proper materials, excuse me." To Robotnik ripping off part of Agent Stone's clothes to, "I found some." And Robotnik says, oh, yeah, he just says, "I found some." I'm guessing this has to do with putting his outfit together? I'm not quite sure what this scene is or what this scene is about.
Basically, he's fat for his. He's too fat for his clothes. Needs more.
Okay. I
bread.
didn't put that together. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
It's a fat joke.
it's a fat joke. Okay, well, it didn't land for me. The titles continued this December. I wish it was September.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic and Robotnik leave. We have a new scene of like Sonic and Robotnik leaving a ring portal to some mountainous area. We don't know where this is. It's kind of interesting seeing them standing side by side, leaving a ring portal. Yeah. Obviously, you tell they're working together. Shadow then runs on some slope sideways at us. Then we get some footage of Skytree in Tokyo, and it gets hit by lightning, knocking out all the electricity in Tokyo. This is white lightning, mind you, not red lightning, which we've seen prior. Shadow persists, saying, "When we're done, there won't be anything left." That's my best Keanu. I know, it sucks. Or maybe it's good. I don't know. Tell me what you think. Close-up of Shadow turning his face to the camera back in Tokyo. Shadow with his motorcycle tries to stomp out a running Sonic, and Sonic retorts to, "Hey, no cheat codes!" I don't know which Sonic that is. Maybe is that Roger Craig Smith? I'm not sure. A very whiny Roger Craig Smith. But
Sounds more like Ben Schwartz.
okay, Ben Schwartz.
Kind of,
He has a very
he's got the
whiny.
more. He's got kind of a nasally. He and I kind of have nasal inflection a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, well, so does Jaleel White. He's very nasal. But anyway. Well, no. Jaleel White has more of like a wisecrack kind of sound to him. But anyway.
Yeah.
So a series of footage also appears with Knuckles and Tails running, along with Robotnik. Yeah, this is at night, a nighttime shot with Robotnik popping out of a door. I mean, this is all quick cutting, to like.
Yeah, this is all fast paced.
Yeah, fast paced cuts. What is it? Hitchcock used to say, the more cuts in your film, the more interesting it is. So I imagine they're probably going with the music, because the music's amping up. It's getting a lot faster, and so they're kind of like throwing in all these like quick shots to make it seem like a lot's happening in this movie, right? Exactly. Not particularly interesting shots, but they're stuff that's where there's motion. There's things happening, so it keeps your attention. But the most notable one of these cuts seems to be they go to a place called the Chow Garden, and I know it's the Chow Garden because it's written in text above, and it looks like some sort of like Chuck E. Cheese, like sort of.
I know, and I love everything about this. I love that it's the Chow Garden, and they've turned it into Chuck E. Cheese, and I'm like, oh my god, I can only imagine like Ian and Evan and the IDW writers are like, write that down, write that down, write that down.
Huh.
Chow Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, yeah, because you can obviously tell it's the Chow Garden, and I think it's also in Tokyo because it's written in katakana above that.
Makes sense.
Chow Garden. Garden. I don't know. I'm not looking at the katakana in front of me. I don't know how they say garden katakana. There's
no Olive Gardens in Japan. Only Chow.
There is no. Yes, I can confirm there is no Olive Garden in Japan, so they can't do that. I don't know what chain they would use here. Sukiya? That'd be a funny one. That's a place you go to like at 4 a.m. to like have cheese gyudon, like a beef bowl. That'd be funny. I would really love to see cross promotion, like as a joke, like they do with Olive Garden if they go to Tokyo. That would be funny. But yeah, so Sonic and company seem to be sitting down at some table as like a missile approaches them. Oh, also, one thing I wanted to point out: this Chow Garden Cafe. My mind did not go to Chuck E. Cheese right away. My mind went to the Kawaii Monster Cafe that they used to have here in Tokyo. I'm pretty sure it's gone. That place was incredible, but the food was really bad. It was really bad. It was really stale, but it was really cool. Like I'm sure, like Pat Casey or I don't know. Someone probably went to. I want to say they did. I don't think it's Chuck E. Cheese inspired. I think it's Kawaii Monster Cafe inspired. But but nobody's gonna believe me because it doesn't exist anymore. It was so cool at the time. I mean, it was kind of designed like one of these things for like. It looked very like Lisa Frank, kind of like these things for like girls. You remember those Lisa Frank like Trapper Keepers from the 90s?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it looked very much like that. And this Chow Garden place kind of looks like that to me. Not exactly Lisa Frank because there's not as many vibrant colors. I mean, these colors are a bit more subdued, but I think that's the inspiration. I could be wrong. Let me know. So we go to a close-up of an angry Sonic, and it has him saying, "What did you do?" In that voice, too. No. A very angry Ben Schwartz, with Shadow with electric eyes saying to his second line in the trailer. I think his second and only line. Is it third? Okay.
It's third.
What was the second one?
So when we're done, there won't be anything left.
That's right. Okay. And he says, "What I had to."
A very John Wick line.
Yeah. Now that you pointed out, I did not even put 2 and 2 together. I'm not too much of a John Wick fan, but yeah, that's what happened. Shadow does the Akira bike homage, with drifting his motorbike in a shot.
Oh, fans ate that scene up
Of
like
course they did.
that was. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like I'm surprised they haven't done it before, but just seeing it, I'm like, okay, it's one of those things where like it's an overdone trope, but man, did they make it look cool. So, and if you look at like the sequence events, he's doing that up a building.
Oh,
So
is
it's
he?
not
I
like
didn't even
he's
notice.
like, yeah, normally you do it horizontally, like on a street, because again, as we're about to see, when he charges at Sonic, he's in the air upside down.
Hmm.
Because Sonic's on like the scaffolding looking up, he's upside down looking down, like standing on the motorbike. How he's not falling is beyond me, but there's some physics things going on, but it looks so cool. And whatever neon red that they got, like rusty neon red, like true neon for Shadow's quills, it looks so good.
Okay.
It's different than the red that they use for Knuckles, energy. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I think it looks cool.
Okay. It's kind of funny. I remember when you screenshotted this for the Discord server, and I think online places I saw it online. I was looking at it through my phone, and it was a really sunny day, and I thought it was Shadow and like a mecha. I didn't actually see that it was a motorcycle. I thought he was like in a big mecha, and everybody's like, "Whoa, check him out in this big mecha!" But no, it
Oh
was
no,
him doing the
he's
Akira bike thing.
uh,
I don't know. As I said prior to you before we did recording, um, how many more times can they do this homage before people get tired of it? Because I've seen this like Akira bike thing in way too many movies now.
it's a trope. It's a trope,
It's
and
I don't know.
it's a trope that fans eat up, especially if you
Yeah,
kind of are of the age to grow up on Akira. So, and it looks cool. They made it look cool, so it's like
all right, I got a bit
it's
of a
overdone,
diatribe.
but
I got a bit of a
okay.
diatribe. I want to go on, just so people know what it is. This is one thing that really frustrates me with Akira, and I think this is where I'm going to talk about it because the thing that frustrates me about Akira is just everybody loves citing it and loves visually paying homage to it, but nobody wants to talk about the story. Like, or like nobody talks about. I mean, okay, sure, you could always go on the YouTube and you type in Akira, what about? What story? What is, right? You could always do that, right? I'm
Well,
sure.
Kaneda.
Well, yeah, that's all it is. It's just them screaming the entire time. Now, I'm not saying the story's bad. I'm not saying it's bad at all, but I don't see many analysis about like how great it is or what the story is. It's always the surface level thing of like, look how cool it is. And I'm not saying it's not cool. It's just sort of like, I want more substance to people ripping off Akira. Do you know what I mean?
it,
That's
it was a
that's my diatribe here.
yeah, I get it.
So, I mean, there's a lot of great things. I mean, Akira's a huge manga. It's lots of stuff going on. There's so many motifs. There's so much storytelling, but I don't feel like enough people talk about it. Or at least, how about this? People do talk about it. It's just, I don't really get the impression that people even know what it's about. They just love to, rip off the imagery. So, anyway. That's my
Yeah.
angry old man for this week. So, if somebody agrees with me, thank you. And tell me why I'm right. Or tell me why I'm wrong. I don't know. I'd more like to hear about it why I'm right. But anyway. So, digression, as usual. Yeah, Sonic and Shadow continue to fight. Did you want to comment about this fight? That's more fighting.
I mean, again, it's just a great shot. Shadow's upside down, standing on the motorcycle, and uses it as kind of like a little springboard where Sonic's on like the scaffolding. And again, I think it's kind of them attempting to do that their little classic moon pose from Battle, of them like charging at each other. Again, it looks cool. Again, really cool. There's a lot of it in this trailer, especially toward the end.
Well, you're gonna hate hearing this from me, but I don't really get much from fight scenes. I know it looks cool and I know it's awesome. It's just like get more to the story stuff. I stay for the story things. Yeah, but anyway, it was cool. Mind you, I'm not saying it's bad. So yeah, then we get the Sonic 3 title appearing, and finally, we have the entrance of Gerald Robotnik, who Jim Carrey in a different role says in his best Homer Simpson, "Welcome home, my boy." Or I think this is a quote from a Simpsons quote. I think anyway. Robotnik then says, "It's impossible."
Is it?
Yeah, and then old Robotnik says, "Is it?" And they exchange some humorous back and forth, and then with his Robotnik ending, "Papa?" or "Papa?" or I forgot how he says it.
I think he says pop pop.
Pop Pop, that's it. Yes, you're right. He says Pop Pop like he's from Tim and Eric. But yeah. And then Gerald says, "In the saggy flesh." And then they hug. Then finishing us up with text that says, "Only in theaters, December 2024. I both love this scene and hate this scene at the same time. I'm very torn on it.
Yeah,
What
we
are
did
your
talk
thoughts?
about that.
What?
We talked about earlier how like we got why they did it, but maybe they could have saved that a little bit. But give Carrie his chops. He's the fact that he's able to comedically time it's more the editor, since he filmed one line and then he filmed the others. But the cuts back and forth is like, this is impossible. Is it? Really? He's having this conversation with someone who can actually keep up with him. It's actually kind of funny.
Right. Well, I mean, one thing is that I think the thing I don't like about it, what I'm torn on, is it kind of gives you like a little bit of tonal whiplash with this. Kind of this like, I don't know,
It is.
like the biggest problem I have with like Star Wars, the prequels, just the prequels in general, is just how they kind of had to add in all this cute stuff, just to like, remind us that this is made for children. I don't think they needed to throw those in, but that's my only real concern with this. I mean, it's Jim Carrey stuff. I mean, some people don't like Jim Carrey. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine who would tell me they would never watch a Sonic movie because they just don't think Jim Carrey's funny. That's just not their humor, right? So, I mean, personally, I like Jim Carrey. I think he's funny. What?
Humor is subjective.
Oh, yeah, it's very subjective. But, I mean, I think this scene works. It's just in terms of, like, going from something very serious to, like, this kind of comic relief. You can have comic relief that works, but I don't think it works here.
Yeah, I mean, again, as we mentioned, this trailer's mood is very serious. It feels very serious. But, yeah, this, and then kind of ending on this, quick slapstick carry feels, again, there's some tonal whiplash to it, but, it still made me chuckle, so, oh well, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm going to kind of get into another part of this conversation that we probably do need to talk about. I wrote on Twitter recently that the scene earlier where we see what I believe is what you said, the crab meat, Eggman's crab meat little mobile that's underwater in possibly London, what I think is London. I don't know. Maybe I didn't watch it carefully enough, but fans have speculated, and myself has speculated, that there may be a character that was digitally removed from this trailer, whether it be Rouge or Amy. And I was writing on Twitter saying that I'm really worried that, because we already have our characters set up. We have Sonic, who's the looks. We have Knuckles, who's the muscle. We have Tails, who's the brain. Who's left? we got the wild card, and we also have the comic relief. Now, I imagine Shadow's probably going to eventually acquiesce, and he's going to become the wild card. But then, or unless that's going to be Rouge, I don't know, because you definitely fit that wild card trope. Whereas, I could definitely see Amy be the comic relief. The one everybody hates, the Jar Jar Binks, and it just like brought this, oh no, like into my mind. Like, okay,
Cold sweat.
yeah, very cold sweat. And I'm sitting here thinking, maybe they could flip the script. Maybe they can make this work. But I don't know. There have been so many bad comic reliefs in the past. I mean, I could probably list them on my hand right now. Jar Jar Binks, Antoine Couliet, who else? There's tons. I could just probably type in Google and they could come up. But I don't know. I guess if Amy was in fact digitally edited out of this movie, I think that's the character she would play.
It's interesting because segue into this comment. This is something that a lot of fans have kind of talked about, is that here we are, movie 3, and it's just the guys. There's no Amy, and with Amy basically being more prominent with Sonic now than Knuckles, especially in the IDW comics. It feels kind of odd for her exclusion. Now, as our wonderful coasters know, I'm not a huge Amy fan. I don't dislike her, but she's not in my top 10, top 15 probably favorite Sonic ladies. But she very much deserves to be in it. Again, obviously this is not Sonic Adventure 2 the movie, but this is Sonic 3, which is pulling a lot from Sonic Adventure 2. Amy had the big scene of convincing Shadow to help, and Sonic X already took that from her and gave it to Chris Thorndike, which pissed a lot of people off because Chris Thorndike does not
like
deserve
that stuff belongs to Amy.
Yeah, it's the one thing, like, that's Amy's moment. Don't Chris Thorndike's the last person who should have it.
What? You don't like a selfish rich kid?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
But if you go through the trailer and really the shot composition of them facing Stone and the crab meat, you look with the way it's all lined up, you look to the right at Knuckles, and it feels like someone should be standing next to him. And even if you and one of the ones that, now, a lot of people thought she was kind of tied up next to them when they had the little black hole vortex scene, but that was just Knuckles. But if you go to the scene where they have like the missiles attacking the Chow Garden, there's an odd empty space between Sonic and Commander Walters, the gun guy, where it's like, again, it feels like someone's there, but they took him out. This is what I'm calling the No Way Home.
Did they do that with No Way Home?
Yeah, because that was the big thing is, excuse me, hiccups, was in that final trailer where you see Peter Parker, Spidey fighting, Electro, the Lizard, and the Sandman. He's charging at them. He's in the middle, but then, but it's clear that, if you look below him, the Lizard's charging at something else, and then you see him get punched in the face, and there's no one punching him. It's clear that they digitally removed something from that scene. Now, with these characters being completely CGI, it feels like you could put a trailer out and just, take Amy out of it. Now, that also begs the question, why are they keeping her a secret? You would figure you want to attract the female audience, so you'd have her front and center. Maybe they'll introduce her in the next trailer that we'll get probably in November. But
yeah.
I mean,
sorry, my mind's going places. I was just thinking, oh no, did she get Me Too'd? Did she have some sort of scandal?
Well,
they can't use Amy anymore.
Well, they canceled Pepe Le Pew for Space Jam,
This
and
is true.
he's been,
This is
yeah.
true.
So, but Rouge is one of my favorite. Is probably right after Sally is top three in my favorite Sonic ladies. But it's pretty clear, at least from what we've seen, that there's probably not a place for her in this story. There's no mention of the Chaos Emeralds at all.
This is
So,
true. Yes, even though they're
and
mentioned in the other one,
yeah, I mean, they were the plot point. They were in the Master Emerald, and we saw them
it was
fly
the
away like the
MacGuffin.
dragon.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, and obviously with Rouge, there's some other things that, and while would be hilarious to debate, Paramount are too much cowards to actually put her in. But yeah,
Are you
Amy,
talking
I
about the
feel like,
booba? Is that what you're saying?
oh, absolutely, the big
Okay.
bat booba. Yeah, the internet's not ready for it. Wasn't
They're
ready for it
ready.
in
They're
20.
just all like, they're still too busy in doing Bible study. It's fine. Grow up a
Yeah,
little.
grow up a little,
Come
folks.
on.
Everyone loves Rouge, but yeah, I think she's in it. I'm still, again, this is me and my hopeful glass half full naivety. I think she's gonna be in it.
Maybe.
I mean, I hope she is. I know a lot. We know a lot of Amy fans. Um, it
Huh.
would be an interesting. Again, I don't really ship Son Amy, but it would be interesting to see how the movie would present
Yes.
the two.
Yes. Because obviously
Because,
Sega's very, against shipping. So, but I mean, how do you not have that in a movie?
well, like even in Sonic Boom, it kind of had Sonic and Amy in a different view that actually I thought worked better than the modern main take. But yeah, so again, I think Amy's in it. I officially think we can say Amy Watch has begun. So we'll keep an eye out, see if what happens with her. Um,
Well, I was kind of thinking, because this is a trailer, and as you were saying, I think probably maybe what this is if the reason why she is removed is if she is in fact removed, they're probably trying to gauge the reaction based upon who's in the movie. Because
well,
I yes,
I was gonna say, well, both Rouge and Amy were trending when the trailer came out, so there's interest.
oh yeah. Well, I'm just saying. I wonder if they're saying, well, what do you think? Do you think they'll ask where they are? Do you think maybe it was an intentional? Because I'm sure they watched, they watch Twitter, they watch all this thing, they see what we're talking about. Not this podcast in particular, but basically, which one is getting the most likes, which one's getting the most follows, that sort of thing. What is in the air? What is the zeitgeist about the trailer, right? Is everybody dislike bombing it? That sort of thing. Because obviously they're paying attention, or at least to the top comments, right? They're not following the bottom three comments. That's us, At least not yet, anyway. Until we actually have to until actually, what is it? Some people from Sega just contact us out of the blue, and they're like, "Hey, can you show off this thing?" We're like, "Oh, hi, who are you?" You're actually listening. Like people are actually listening to the words that are coming out of my pie hole. Really? But hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Anyway, no, I'm not
Give
saying
us
you need
money.
to. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just saying I enjoy talking about my hedgehog. I enjoy speculating. I have no ill intent when I'm trying to say I don't like something or I dislike something. I should probably say that. Maybe my criticism come off as a little. Maybe they might come off as a little hurtful, but it's never really my intent to speak ill of someone or to say something for purely malice. It's just basically my interpretation and my feeling. So it's not to you know trash the brand that I enjoy, because some people do that. So anyway, I also wanted to say too that Kristen Ritter is not in this trailer either. I don't see a big hashtag. Where's Kristen? I don't
They
see it.
actually do have a picture of her.
Do they?
They
Where?
released. I'll send it to you.
All right. I didn't
They
even
did
see it.
have.
I did not even catch it. Like who else is in this movie that's not in the trailer? Wade. We didn't get Wade this time. We didn't get
I think I
we
think
didn't
Wade's under Paramount, identity protection.
Okay. We didn't get what is it? We didn't get the one FBI or not FBI gun agent who was getting married, then was a double agent sort of shit thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
Randall.
Randall, yeah, we didn't get him. He's in the movie according to the IMDb page. We
Yeah,
didn't get the buyer either, or I don't know if the oh no, wait, they couldn't afford the buyer. He's not in the list here. um, let's
I think
see.
the buyer died. I think Knuckles killed him.
Oh really?
Well, didn't his like
That
the
was a
ball
waste.
fall
Like,
on his?
we can't even like find out who he is. We don't even get to know who Buff Snively is. Come on, man. I
We
love
do
that
not.
idea. I love the idea of Buff Snively.
I do too.
All
But
right, well,
Paramount. I don't know. I'm when we get to the Knuckles review. I enjoy. I'll say this. I enjoyed it more than most. But even then, I have some thoughts about it.
oh no,
About
I enjoyed the
Paramount.
Knuckles show too, but it's like there are parts of it you're like, huh? Why that direction? I mean, I can enjoy it in terms of like it being entertainment and it's something to watch. I enjoyed it for that purpose, but in terms of like being a Sonic fan, no. If I was not a Sonic fan, maybe be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that Knuckles thing. He has a show now." I'm like, this Wade guy's funny, right? Right? You know what I mean? But anyway. So, thus is our review of the Sonic 3 trailer. I imagine there's going to be another one coming up soon. Was there anything
Well,
else you wanted
actually,
to say about this before we dive into the call to action?
um, just kind of like it's kind of you know because this is really more like into the marketing. Obviously, like Paramount has implemented its 4 month marketing plan. They did the same thing for Sonic 2. Disney did it for Spidey No Way Home, where basically you get your first trailer out roughly 120 days prior to release, and then you do usually a final trailer a month prior. So just kind of some dates to be aware of. New York Comic Con is in October. They may have a panel, they may not. So I hope they do have a panel. I'd like to hear some of the other actors talk about it. Um,
Well, I'll say one
if I
thing.
was a
Sega planned this right. They released it at a time when nobody was talking about anything else. So this is what everyone's talking about. So good job.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, and then I would say if I were to make put money down, um, this is one of those years where Thanksgiving is like literally the last week of November,
Hmm.
and obviously since Paramount owns CBS, they did put a Sonic 2 trailer before the Super Bowl. So I would say expect that last trailer. Um, I'm thinking they might play it at halftime of the morning game that CBS plays, just because they'll have the audience for it and it'll kind of be the right around time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I expect a final trailer end of November. So I think September's will be kind of on the quiet side. And then October will probably they'll start talking about it more, and then November will be the ramp up, and then once we hit the last week of November, and then those because again the movie doesn't come out till December 20th, and though lucky for you it looks like it's coming out in Japan December 27th,
Oh,
so there's
thank
only a week
God.
difference.
I can't tell you how annoying it was dodging spoilers for months. I thought, no man, I could do it. No, hell no. Okay, well that's good because I don't need to like contact. Well, I guess I don't know. I do need an excuse to contact my friend who's on Yokosuka Air Force Base. Maybe I could just tell him, oh, the Sonic movie doesn't come out a week prior. I don't. I want to avoid spoilers like that badly. I thought to
Well,
myself, nah.
and, and here's the thing is, because I know you and I know Chevelle is interested, and maybe we can get a couple more, special guests to kind of join us for a review panel to kind of end off 2024. But yeah, this is a movie, I think you kind of have to see more than once to, get a good review on it, because I know that first time I see it, I'm just going to be just hyped as hell. I won't be able to be in the right headspace to make like okay, hype aside, this worked, this didn't. So, um, I know I have some holiday plans around that time of year, but I'm going to definitely try to see it before I have to fly here, there, and wherever.
We may actually want to consider getting replacement hosts. So like to replace me or replace you when we're on vacay or we got some sort of thing going on. I don't know. Or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe there is no replacing us. What do you think?
There, we're indispensable.
All
We're
right. All
we're
right.
too valuable.
All right. If you change your mind, let me know. If you change your mind, listener, let me know. Like, this Radley guy's no good. Get that Mark guy back. Yeah, sorry, Mark. I haven't had you on the show because this is current Sonic stuff. I mean, I have Sonic Mark Cavazos, my other co-host. He's on the Sonic Historian podcast, which we haven't done in a while. Mostly because I'm trying to put something together with that. That's I guess it's not really a secret. Most of the docu-series I'm trying to put together, but it is coming. It is coming. It's been a slog, and some things have been happening in my personal life that I need to take care of. So, but stuff like this you can depend on usually most of the time. So I guess as a rule we segue into the call to action. Unless you have more to say, Malzil, about this trailer.
I liked it. It was good.
I'm gonna go with my review of it was fine. In that tone of voice too. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was whelmed. It was good. It was good. Fine. And that's my review. Yeah. So if you want to plug our stuff, you can follow us on Twitter or X under Sonic Host. What's the tag? You know the name. What's the actual? I guess it's just Sonic Host Coast to Coast. I mean, or C2C.
Yeah. At Sonic Host C2C.
Okay, yeah, you can follow us there. We have our Discord server below if you want to check out some of the memes or be a part of some of the conversation, that goes into making this show. We're also on Tumblr. I think we have a link below. I don't know. I need to update that description.
And one day we'll get a blue sky. One day we'll.
Oh yeah, sure. Blue sky. Let's get the craft cola version to our Coca-Cola. Let's see. What else? What else are we on? What else do we do? Is that it? We don't have an Instagram, so I mean, Sonic Historian has an Instagram, but I just post pictures of the thumbnails there. Yeah, I mean, it's old, it's stale, but it's still a good interview. I'm still gonna plug my Nakama Shota interview. Great interview. The Otani Tomoya one is coming, and the 42-minute one is coming. Please stay tuned for that. But everything else, Malzil, I turn it off to you. How do we end the show?
Well, it's a good question. I guess we better Chaos Control out of here.
Chaos Control!